1 on the card. It's the tradition, of course, the Inglis Carbine Stakes, and the short price favourite is Skilled. Let's have a look at the TAB odds for the running of the first race on the card. At the moment, the weather, well, it's holding up. There's a bit of high cloud about, nice light breeze for those people in the homes. Sam, I like Skilled in the first race. I thought he'd be hard to beat, but I reckon he's short enough. I think the wild card in the race is Goldstone. He's got the ability. He's just got to put it all together. Back to Fleming.
Is Inglis Carbine Club Stakes.
He goes straight back to last, and Condolago is the first one to bounce out and finds the lead settling. Skilled is moving up quickly and gets into second placing, and Ace DaCosta presses the issue early and goes up and takes the lead now. Mr. Shard gets a nice run fourth. Kookaburras is fifth up towards the home turn, and they're nearing the 600 metres. Ace DaCosta the leader. Skilled strode up purposefully and got within about a length of the leader. Mr. Shard tracks him. Condolago the rail. Get out of town, peeling out wide, followed then as they swing by Kookaburras. Goldstone nowhere to go. The inside as they swing for home now, and Gels are last. It's Skilled moving up strongly to tackle Ace Acosta. 400 left to go. Mr. Shard's right there with Skilled, and he goes up and he's actually gone to the lead narrowly. Then Condolago getting over hills and further back in the field. Then was Kookaburras, but Mr. Shard, he left Skilled behind. He's sprinted away now. Goldstone making ground, and then Condolago. But it's this one with a big lead. Mr. Shard 2 or 3 to Goldstone, Condolago, and Mr. Shard wins again. Mr. Shard by 2. Getting up for second, Goldstone. Ahead third was Condolago. Skilled every chance, ran fourth. And then came Gelzar. The filly not a bad.
For quite some time. And if horses win it in that style, they're generally pretty good.
He stamped himself, didn't he, Shane? $4.80 a dollar.
But I'm looking at an Alco Pop, a Linton or a Mudra or a Malaki Day. If they were very impressive, they could be a chance to be handicapped.
Well, a horse which wins a renewal of this quality that has very quickly emerging form will likely get a penalty, but there are
so many chances, so many good horses competing in it. Down the tape board, we've got Linton, $3.90 the favourite. Mudra at $4, very, very firm. That is number 1, Alco Pop. But clearly, the best back runner, as Shane mentioned, is Linton.
What you're seeing, they've only missed by a couple of hours here, and it is about to descend upon Flemington because I believe, Sammy, right at the moment, it's hit Werribee.
Yeah, it's heavy rain at Werribee, and when you look and looks solid.
Back immediately, Jessica Biel, Alco Pop a little slow. Mudra has to be hustled early. Count Costa begins well. Once for Wild goes for the lead early. Purple's up there. Linton the favourite, just steadying off from the grey about 6th as they settle fully. Stand still immediately on his inside. Alco Pop went back to last. Well, Lucky Day was last, and Once for Wild at the 2,200 metres has the lead. But here's Herculean Prince coming around the outside, and then Gothic Crown of Lucky Day, and Alco Pop brings up the rear. So Herculean Prince is the leader, out by about a length and a half as they go to the top of the track. The stablemate is running second, Once for Wild, and they're about 5 to 6 lengths clear. Standstill, maybe a bit more, in fact. Standstill third, Cedarburg is fourth, Purple is fifth the outside. 2 Count Costa. Mudra's on the rail, Gothic Crown the outside, a length and a half away. Then came Murray, and around the stablemate Linton. Red Ruler on the fence, and then there's 2 lengths away to Lucky Day, Jessica Biel, and a length to Alco Pop at the end of the field, 25 away from the leader. Herculean Prince coming up the side of the course, a lead of a length here on Once for Wild, 5 lengths away. Purple starting a move over on the outside. From Standstill, Cedarburg the rail, Gothic Crown coming around the outside. Then Murray in the field is bunching right up now. Mudra's pocketed on the rails. Count Costa next. Red Ruler peels out. Linton's going to be very wide around the home turn. Lucky Day towards the end. Jessica Biel is last. Alco Pop's pulled out extremely wide into the straight. Once for Wild left in front. Herculean Prince punctured and dropped right back through the field. And Once for Wild by 4 to Purple. Murray and running on. Down the outside came Linton. And Lucky Day is starting to come home well. Alco Pop's a minute back. Once for Wild, 250 to go. By 3 lengths, here's Linton and Lucky Day. They're coming after Once for Wild. These are the ones to fight it out. Once for Wild, getting a little tired. Linton and Lucky Day are after Once for Wild. Once for Wild, grabbed by Lucky Day. Lucky Day storms into the lead, came away. Lucky Day, it is his day today by 2 lengths. Linton grabs second from Once for Wild. Mudra 4, Count Costa 5. A break to Reds in the race. Standstill. Alco Pop didn't fire a shot. Jessica Biel has run a distant last.
Well, fascinating. Now, Lucky Day, storming run. He's 40th before today in the Emirates Melbourne Cup, but he goes straight into the race. He's got 50 kilos. Only his 8th start today. We wonder whether he will accept. Nick Moratis had a
at the last minute, and you couldn't take anything away from that. Linton was terrific. He's
A lucky day. It is his day today by 2 lengths.
Well, I'm not about paying up for the Melbourne Cup they did. He's had less starts, and so you think about the least experienced horse in the race. It'll be his 9th start, but Jimmy Cassidy said that this is the next Kiwi, my lucky day, Nick Moranis. And fortunately for Jimmy, who's already booked to ride Once Were Wild, who was absolutely outstanding yesterday when Herculean Prince crumbled and left her well in front too soon, Rich.
I know it's an old expression. He's going to be next preparation next year, but he is still a big baby. But geez, that was an outstanding one. I couldn't believe when he was last, but geez, he knows how to ride these staying races at Flemington, Jimmy Cassidy. He's a big raw talent. Linton was good again, but I agree, Bruce. I thought Once Were Wild's run was outstanding. That's the stablemate Herculean Prince who's gone to the paddock. I think these, not often I'd say it, I think all 3 place getters are live chances on Tuesday.
I wouldn't disagree with that. They ran fast overall time.
An exciting young stayer. That was only his 8th start yesterday, his 5th win, and he rockets now into Melbourne Cup calculations. This son of Nick Moratis, successful in a Melbourne Cup aboard Might and Power. Will they be successful again?
I'm not going to say no again. I don't know whether I love this race or I hate this race. There was some very good runs in it. 1, 2, 3. This horse, I've always said all along, he's next year's Cup horse. But look, on this performance, who's to say that this year isn't his Cup? Isn't a Cup horse this year? I thought the second horse, Linton, had a bit of work to do in the run. He just lacks that get up on the bit and travel in his races. He's always under pressure, that horse, Linton.
If they're going to win the Cup, I think you've got to get exactly the same conditions again. And they ran that race on a pretty firm track. There was no rain by the time that race was run, so it was run on a firm track. Totally different proposition to what happened later in the day and what is likely to happen on Tuesday. We sort of knew what level they were at, the ones that went round in it. So I was just, I was kicking myself I didn't tip him. And it's no surprise that he won. But I just don't think I'm not sure how relevant it is now to Tuesday because it's a totally different proposition.
Well, I think a lucky day. Okay, now we go to the Wakeful Stakes for the 3-year-old fillies, the Classic over 2,000 metres. Let's have a look at the tote odds here. We've got Shamrock at $6.40. There's Largo at $5. Kittens $11. Sasa at 11. Brazilian Pulse at $4.40. Zutara blinkers back on $15. A little bit of Monica over the page,
including Sasa and Kittens and a couple of longer odds. But she's our favourite, and she is our sporting bet market mover. That's number 7, Brazil.
Brings Count Your Fingers into line. He's won this Wakeful on 3 occasions, 21 years ago, his most recent winning performance on Tristan. They're setting their off-hand racing in the Wakeful. Sasa snagged at the start, and so too Kittens. And one of the first to bounce out is Placement going for the lead in the early part. Set up a length and a half. Hearts Are For Love. Brazilian Pulse moving to 3rd on the outside. Very Cherry is deep out. Hearts Are For Love. A little bit of Monica 5th on the inside. Brazilian Pulse caught a little bit deep there. Count Your Fingers, the middle one, Speed of Dark. Sasa brings up the rear of the field. A steady gallop. Very Cherry has the lead in the Wakeful. A length in front of Zutara. A length and a half to Placement. And a length further back as Hearts Are For Love. 2 Brazilian Pulse running 5th over on the outside, but still caught wide. Count Your Fingers in the middle. A little bit of Monica on the rail. They're followed at the 800 metres then by Marasine. Speed of Dark deep out from Shamrock on the rail, and then came Divorces wide but has cover. Followed Kittens and Evidentia. Is Largo a long way from them, and then Bride, Salama and Sasa and another Sunday. Very Cherry on the swing for home, led from Zutara. Placement right behind the leader, and then Hearts Are For Love. Brazilian Pulse is there, but she's had a very tough run. A little bit of Monica getting up on the rail. And then Count Your Fingers, Marasine, Rose of Peace, Divorces is out wide. It's Placement who darts up on the inside, and Hearts Are For Love, they claim Very Cherry. Brazilian Pulse, nothing if not brave. She's still coming on, and then Marasine and Rose of Peace making ground. Hearts Are For Love from Brazilian Pulse and Placement. Marasine and Rose of Peace is coming. Hearts Are For Love, Brazilian Pulse, Brazilian Pulse. How brave is that? Brazilian Pulse drew away. Beat either Placement, Hearts Are For Love, or Rose of Peace. Close up horse, Sasa from last, and then Marasine. Just behind them, a little bit of Monica. Very Cherry, Zutara. I think she pulled a bit hard. His last time. That's it.
So the favourite wins Craig Williams 2 of the first 3. And the 2 favourites for the Oaks going in were Shamrocker and Largo, and they have run shockers. And 3rd, is it placed?
3rd going to 5, Hearts Are For Love, and number 18 has finished back in 4th position.
Peace.
All honours go to her. Did it tough, did it well. Brazilian Pulse for Mike Maroney, who always is a player in Cup Week. Geez, had great success. Strike rate over the carnival since he's been a player.
I agree with that, Bruce. Sasa was pretty good, and the tempo was slow here, which, had there been more pressure, I don't think Brazilian Pulse would have done what she did, sit wide. A terrific win. And Marisim and Rosa Peace will find him a line. I think Rosa Peace, Sasa, Brazilian Pulse Thursday day.
I thought Kitten's run was all right.
Yeah.
She's a big baby, and I thought she attacked the line. She's only.
Look, she's just an outstanding filly. She's just stood the test of time. It's all on one preparation. She's just a little beauty. I don't know what to think of this Oaks Elf. I'm in love with Sasa, and I have been for 6 months now. But she's the thing with her is that she can't handle the going. She doesn't handle it wet. So I don't know what to think about this Oaks.
I think filly's a very, very good filly, but it probably suited the good milers in that they went pretty slow in it, which is a dry track too. Now you throw the variables of a wet track, perhaps more pace into the race, and another 500 metres, and I can't read that form as being definitive.
There was no pressure in the race. It had
The first of the Group 1s. This makes a stallion.
We have Toad odds look this way, and Shane's going to then update us with what's happening in the bookmakers ring. Star Witness 370, Presto at $7. Solar charged, and she's at around $7.90. In the ring here, Shane.
Chance is into 750. So the rain falling, they've latched on the buffering. Sol was like, you cannot hide.
Seriously, folks, this is the best tent I've ever seen.
Thanks for coming up, mate.
Okay.
Run for the Coolmore. Gates are back. Solar Charge jump well. Star Witness didn't seem to jump all that well at all down near the inside. And Presto, I think it is, it's bombed the start too. So some surprises early. And Solar Charge pounced on the front. Buffering got away well. Up there too, looked to be Paraguay not far away from them. Wider out is Soul Handy, and no hesitation as deep as Star Witness got up behind the leading bunch, followed then by Shrapnel. Further back is Katana, Sistine Angel a long way back in the field. Followed Potions out wide. Presto is at the tail of the field. He was the horse who bombed it pretty badly. And they're coming now with about 500 left to go. Solar Charge, the leader. A length and a half in front of Buffering. Star Witness, the ruffian down close to the inside with Paraguay. Soul was under great pressure. Katana next from General Truce. They're coming to the 400 metres. And Star Witness bounded up on the outside. Witness Solar Charge. Here's Katana running on. Buffering trying to get through. Soul got hampered for a run. Star Witness was the leader. A length and a half. Katana Buffering in a good battle behind these. But Star Witness in front of Katana. Star Witness comes away. Too good for them. Star Witness 2 lengths Katana. Shrapnel a half a length third. Buffering stayed on fourth. And Caraway Soul who met trouble. Potion, Sistine Angel, General Truce, Solar Charge weakening. Presto lost it at the beginning and then followed the ruffian and no hesitation dropped out to finish last.
So he's done that Blue Diamond double with the Cornwall Stone. Alingi did that in 2004. There's been a few others, but that was the most notable.
In his distance at Stud Stakes, he's by Starcraft. He's a gelding, this horse, but Dad was very talented and he's thrown some of that talent onto this bloke. A Blue Diamond winner comes out and wins the Coolmore, so he's done it in both seasons.
Yeah.
Those who saw his jump out on Tuesday morning when he tried to gun down Hayless thought would happen. It did. Group 1 cost $150,000 as a yearling. Now becomes $1 million earner. Star Witness. Easy work. Is that right? $5. James Winks was part of the ride and would have been a good ride for you, James. No, a one, Rich.
I don't know. That was just one of the few winners I actually actually on, Bruce. Let me tell you.
Too much information.
It's stupid over-analysis from wood ducks like me. If he'd drawn barrier 8, I think everyone said, oh, well, he's a good thing. But, we all had this silly reservation that barrier 2 might, you might find yourself having trouble getting clear running. But as you said, Solar Charge was always going to run him along. And watching from the outside,
had it in our minds that the straight course would be his best racing. And even though he won the Diamond at 2, he fumbles the corner every time he gets around Caulfield. And looking forward to this all spring. We missed the Guineas with this in mind, and he's justified it today. And we've got another crack now next Saturday.
Dominant win today. It's important.
The jury was out whether he went good or Hayless went bad in the trial. He obviously went good. He's a very good sprinter, this horse, and he was fairly dominant there, boys.
One thing I know about those trials up the straight before the big meetings, times do matter. And if they run good time up the straight and they look like they're doing it well, then you can take them with confidence on the Saturday, and that's what this horse did. He arrived with all the right credentials behind him, with his known ability, his great trial on the Tuesday. And, well, it was a great decision not to go on towards the Guineas. There would have been that temptation. That's the usual course that, a horse like he would take, but they stopped that and they moved particularly to the sprint. Now, for a stallion value, this adds a fortune to him, and that.
But internationally yesterday, I saw Mick Kinane on Friday, and he was at the Gallops on Tuesday morning, and he said, "I know that Haylist is good." I said, "But the thing that ran with him, I think he's better."
Yeah.
He was really impressed with him and said a lot of big things about him.
Well, he's a Blue Diamond winner at 2. He's now Coolmore winner at 3. If he goes overseas, it makes him very, very special. He's a very good horse. And what about that
rain that I was telling you about earlier certainly increased in intensity as soon as I mentioned it. It really started to bucket down. It was very continuous. Okay, let's have a look at the Tate betting for the running of the McKinnon Stakes. So You Think is all the rage. Tate Punter's had a bit of a set against him early, but he's come right in now to $1.90. Desperado below him at $8.80. Back to Shocking up the top at $6.10. She's at $17. Shane, what's happening with the bookmaker?
So You Think is now they're starting to let you on a bit. 165 out to 170. Desperado will go styling. Okay, they've taken it again. They love this horse. 170 into 165. He'll be out as you settle back and start working out your quarters. You're going to have to put a couple of slow trackers in at the very least.
And with this sort of weather, Sam, they open the top of the track and automatically the water gets straight into it. So that's even worse, isn't it?
Yeah, and it'll make it different. Trusting jump evenly with them. So You Think jumped quite nicely in the early part. Desperado away quickly, and he wants the lead early. Red Colossus was away well. Gingadood's going up outside So You Think, who's settling down in the first 3 or 4. Rainbow Starling not far away from them over on the inside, and then Red Colossus at about a length and a half away in the field. Then Sailor Gear as Gingadood has run to the lead. Further back in the field then is Kidnapped, who's over on the rails or near the rails with Shootout immediately ahead of him as they go to the leader as they near the 1,000 metres. Faint Perfume and Trusting together at the end of the field. So they're coming down the side. Gingadood the leader. Desperado a length and a half away second. Rainbow Starling third. So You Think's just beautifully poised fourth, about 3 lengths from the leader. Shootout staying with him on the inside, and then Red Colossus, one Sailor Gear, Kidnapped. Metal Bender was next as they neared the turn, and they're on the swing for home now. Further back then, Faint Perfume's dropping back towards the end, and Trusting was second last as they come around the turn, and Shocking third last starting his move. So into the straight, Gingadood joined by Desperado. So You Think just poised a length and a half behind here. Arnold hasn't let him go yet. Rainbow Starling on his inside. Let's see, where's Shocking? He's still only got 3 behind him now. Desperado went to Gingadood. So You Think is moving up with the great purpose now. Here he comes, looking for his 5th straight. So You Think at the 200 metres. Claims the lead, strides away from Desperado. Further back is Shootout, but just have a look at this. It's just beautiful to watch. So You Think wins by about 3 on the line. Desperado. Gingadood held third, just in front of Shootout. And just behind those horses then was Red Colossus, Shocking, grinding home, and then Rainbow Styling, Trusting, Faint Perfume didn't do much. Metal Bender is towards the end. Kidnapped is second last. Sailor Gear, oh, that's not good. He's about 12 lengths from the second last horse.
What a magnificent horse he is. 5 out of 5 this spring. The Group 1s continue. The legend grows. 2 Cox Plates, a McKinnon, all those other weight for age races. But Cummings watching from the Epworth Hospital. He has to be happy.
Bart's, ladies and gentlemen. Love Running was going to beat him when he pressed the button and let go. Champions, ladies and gentlemen, love running past other horses and giving them a space like this horse here. The only thing that can get him beat in a Melbourne Cup coming up this Tuesday over 3,200 metres is if he draws wide and he gets fired up going out of the straight the first time. If So You Think draws a barrier, gets locked away, that's your Melbourne Cup winner.
I tell you what, every time I see this horse go out, he's becoming more and more of a professional. He tracked
Johnny. Stallion that when he gets there by himself, often the stallions sort of think, it's all over when they get there by himself. So he sort of gives him a couple of backhanders to keep him on his way. And like I say, he wants to have.
What did you think, Bart, watching the race and how the horse finished off?
I couldn't be more pleased. He finished off quite well. And, he just handled the wet better than I thought he would. But he has won in a heavy 7 previously.
Maybe a wide draw could be a little bit of a concern in a race with 24 runners in the Melbourne Cup. Is the barrier, do you feel, a factor for him?
He hasn't drawn wide yet.
No, he hasn't. No, that's right. But you mightn't be 100%, but your one-liners are just about as good as ever.
Wins by about 3 on the line, Desperado. Gingadoot held third, just in front of Shootout, and just behind those horses.
Well, 5 this time in. Memsy, Underwood, Yalumba into a Cox Plate into a McKinnon Stakes, $1.60. Not meant to be as easy as that. He's won 5.2 million after 11 starts. Add on Saintly Lodge, which won't be renamed to So You Think.
No, I think Reg wouldn't allow it to be changed from Saintly Lodge.
I think he's wavering. I think we're starting to get some wavering in Reg about this horse.
Look, Reg is entitled to his opinions, and he loves Saintly.
There's no point comparing them both champion gallopers. And
different horses, different eras. I think it's a pointless exercise myself.
Is it unbelievable to think that he's only had 11 starts? It's against all what a Melbourne Cup runner or winner or Cox Plate winner is supposed to do. There's supposed to have had a few preparations. They get to 4 years of age. He's had 11 starts. He's a dual Cox Plate winner. He's now a dominant favourite for an Emirates Melbourne Cup.
I think yesterday you saw more racecraft from the horse. That was only his 11th start. And what we saw yesterday probably gives you a lot more confidence going into a Melbourne Cup that he's got more grounding into him, more racing experience.
I think for bred to race, and yesterday I just think he was breathtaking. We had the Caulfield winner. We had Shootout, who's, the Turnbull's probably been the best race of the spring up until now. Shootout ran very well there. Caulfield Cup winner, as I say, the little wild card emerging horse from New Zealand, Gingadoot, that you knew was going to lead, and he just embarrassed them yesterday.
Well, let's have a look at it. Let's mentally.
Getting cranky early on, so I let him stride a little bit through the first.
It's the old count to 10 thing there, isn't it?
Yeah, I sort of wanted only just sort of go down the last two stronger. Those both rage races I've been making a bit of a test because he's probably the best horse, and today I just wanted to wait a bit longer and actually had a look around at the furlong. He's awesome horse.
It's absolutely soft, isn't it? Just the perfect last it out before a Melbourne Cup.
Seems to have pulled up great, Bruce. He's pulled up super in himself. He's jumping around coming in, so I don't think it's hurt him too much.
All those people who saying he won't.
Corey Brown shootout from a cup perspective?
I was happy with him. He's just lost all that dash in the finish of his races. So he raced like a true star today. I know it was only 2,000.
For a Willa, Desperado from a cup perspective, good run?
As long as I can dry my boots out before Tuesday, everything's on track. He just gave me a beautiful ride during the race, and I thought he hit the line very well. I tried to make a bit of a staying test of it from the 700, and it's put on for Tuesday.
Of course, it was found that Metalbend bled out of the race. Anything from the beaten going forward? I mean, obviously, Desperado, good.
All right, well, I was just going to say, Bruce, fantastic 4-year-old males this season.
Just beautiful to watch. So You Think wins by about 3 on the line, Desperado.
Well, what more can be said about So You Think? Yesterday, position, Ronnie.
Words can't describe him. Look, I haven't seen him this preparation because he's been in Melbourne all prep. I have seen vision of him parading on the TV, and he's always jig jog. Yesterday, he was a new man. He whether it was just because of the backup, he'd settled down, but he walked around the yard like he owned it. He settled quite respectful in the run. And I think the most important thing come Melbourne Cup on Tuesday is the barrier that he's drawn. It's absolutely perfect for him. But look, it's the first time I've stood up and said, "Wow, you are a Melbourne. You could well win the Melbourne Cup."
Well, he's got a great draw. He drew barrier 3 last night for the race. So he ploughed through the heavy going yesterday. So that's one query you can tick off the list. Some still doubting whether he can run out the trip. It's impossible to consider that.
I think what you've got to take into consideration too, like he handles any sort of condition of the track. It doesn't really matter what's going to happen on race 5. It was still dead. Even though it was raining when the race was on, and you look at it and say, "Oh, that was a heavy track." It was not a heavy track at that stage.
No doubt.
Into consideration, he was still behind Desperado and ran past it and gave it a gold. Goes to a mile and a half too.
I don't gush about races.
No, you don't.
Right. Well, I'm going to gush about this bloke.
Yeah.
Right, because I'll tell you this. I thought he was at a new level on Cox Plate Day, but he went to another level again yesterday because there was every opportunity to beat him yesterday. The track was a bit of a question mark. Backing up was a question mark. Would he settle in a bigger field? That was a question mark. He answered absolutely all of them. And I'll tell you what, if that race had gone another 500 metres, he'd have won by 7 or 8 lengths. Now, he's got to go another 700 metres again beyond that. Yeah. That's the question mark that's left.
And
I
dropped
mean,
weight.
I haven't seen a horse to match him. I haven't seen a horse that
I'm not
has done what
arguing.
he's done, so I can't tip against him. He's just on another level. He's on another plane.
Race at Rosehill Gardens, good three-way finish. So the track is now a slow 6. Eagle Falls is out of the Salinger 3 on the pecking order, and precedence now for Bart is up to number 24. Okay, we're up to the Derby. The big Group 1 for the 3-year-olds over 2,500 metres. Let's have a look at the tote odds and then we'll do an update with Shane. Firstly on the TAB, down the board, we've got Retrieve, $5.30, Rekindle Interest, $3.90. Lion Tamer, $13, Smoke and Joey at $6.10. It's been one of the best back runners all week. Digital Fortress will love the wet, $6.60. Almondoro at $13, and that's about...
It's going to keep running here today. Let's hope it rains itself out and things start to pick up.
Okay, the runners are down at the start. We've still got a few minutes of betting time.
Cling of how good he is when he won the bars, and that's been a wonderful form reference for this race in recent years. Stand by. Gates are back and they're off and racing. Cosmonaut missed the start on the outside. Retrieve got away well. So did Lucky I'm Barefoot. Rekindle Interest broke nicely. And also Ulumpi is pushing up on the pace. And there's Almindora driving forward around these and is heading towards the front as they make the bottom turn, and Lion Tamer trapped out wide at the 2,200 metres. And it's Almindora desperate for the lead, and he crossed over in front of Yolandi. Got him a little bit tight there. Yolandi tossed his head in the air. Lion Tamer went around him. Then Lucky I'm Barefoot settling fourth, and Rekindled Interest is fifth over on the outside as they make their way, and Tail of Thunder is immediately ahead of him. So in the gloom they race, and Almindoro has the lead about a length and a half in front of Lion Tamer in second placing. Then came Lucky I'm Barefoot, third, a length and a half away. And Nicky Yolandi over on the outside as they're coming down the side of the course. 2 lengths away, Retrieve, who's on the inside of Rekindled Interest. The favourites together there. Followed then by Smoke and Joey on the inside of Kirinata pulling. And going up is on the outside Digital Fortress. And they're followed further back by Eulalona. Shoot offs a fair way back over on the inside as the field is coming down with about 800 metres left to go. Cosmonaut gives them a start. Let's see, back behind them, Kuta Kalari and also Cosmonaut. Perfect Flex is last. Up around the turn, Almindoro is swinging for home narrowly from Lion Tamer. Ulumpi on the outside. Lion Tamer claims the lead now, swinging for home. Rekindled Interest is into the clear. Digital Fortress is running on. Eulalona's on the outside. Retrieve back near the inside under pressure. Lion Tamer raced away from them early. He raced about 2 or 3, Lion Tamer. From Rekindled Interest, Digital Fortress. Now Retrieve's picking up, and Lion Tamer's away with a long lead. 300 left to go. He's 3 or 4 in front of Rekindled Interest, Retrieve and Digital Fortress. Lion Tamer past the 200. He's 5 lengths in front, Lion Tamer for Huey Bowman. He's got it parcelled up. Lion Tamer racing right away. He'll win the Derby by about 6 lengths. And a lovely pose for the photo. Getting up for second, Presido flashed home and grabbed it ahead of Retrieve. Digital Fortress ran fourth. A break, Rekindled Interest tied at Almindoro. Eulalona followed by Cosmonaut. Larry was last to finish. Lion Tamer certainly tamed his rivals in the Derby.
Sure did. He's by a horse called Storming Home. That's the father of Lion Tamer.
He's done an exceptional performance by kicking away like that.
Murray and Bjorn Baker trained this horse. He's trained in New Zealand, in Cambridge, and they see plenty of wet tracks there. And this was just like home territory to him once he got on that.
Proven horses from New Zealanders. They're very good trainers, and they've deserved that. That's a big win. He's paid huge on the tote too, 12.90 and 3.
Lion Tamer certainly tamed his rivals in the Derby.
He did, Greg. You're wrong with the margin by half length. It was 6.5 lengths. What price was that?
A lovely pose for the photo. Getting up for second, Presido flashed home and grabbed it ahead of Retrieve. Digital Fortress ran fourth.
Yeah, still reckon 1,000 is a bit light for that. That was fantastic. You know, want to respect him into the fine. He's a mug, Huey Bowman. He gives you the 3-year-old set anyway. The Group 1, the Oaks, Samantha Miss, the Derby, and you won't get a Group 1 easier than that, will you?
No, like I said, I did go to the front very soon, but I couldn't hold the horse any slower, and that's why I thought, well, we've had a pretty easy time, and he was travelling that well, obviously liking the conditions, so I just let him stride, and he just he got stronger and stronger as I went further down the straight.
The two Group 1s down here, Huey, both of the 3-year-old classic race.
I got a bit carried away.
What about
Heavy horse.
should we grab their old hands? Shall we just be more makers?
This is, in addition to New Zealand's Got Talent. What do you think? Would you give yourself a rating on that one?
It's going to take a while to live that down. We'll be.
Now, I would say, Bill, that
apparently that girl worked for you.
that's a slight contrast here, Dan.
Yes,
Right, Cosmonaut.
He's gone all right. I think he wants his balls out. We're a different horse.
Stephen King, Elmtrist.
Yeah, got a great run in transit. Probably the wet track didn't really help him in the end, and like to see him on top of the ground.
The Derby overall, from the form perspective.
Look, I think what you saw to some degree. I mean, we've rabbited on a bit about these 3-year-olds running faster time in the Vase and the Cox Plate winner. And as I said the other day, every time that happens, you can trust it. Efficient did it. It's good Derby winner, as you see. Lion Tamer, Rekindle Interest, 1-2 in the Vase. He was terrific yesterday. To say that these are inferior bunch of 3-year-olds, I think it's pretty silly at the moment.
Yes, I've got this race summed up. I think, Bjorn. I think half the field couldn't stay. The other half of the field couldn't handle the wet. But one horse could do both. And that's about how it worked out, isn't it?
Well, my father did say to bring some earmuffs when Richard's on, and he's going to have them anyway. But unfortunately, I couldn't find a pharmacy to get any earplugs on the way here. I said to the cab driver, mate, you know a pharmacy open. But we'll just nod our head and agree with you. Of course,
It's true, though. He handles wet, he stays, and most of the field just don't.
Well, that's the thing too. We're always confident going into these staying races. He's trained to be a stayer.
Presido, that was a marvellous training performance by David Payne. That horse hadn't raced for a month leading into that race on such a testing track, and he got a check mid-race and finished the race off well, although he was beaten pointlessly by the winner. It's a hard race to assess considering the circumstances on the day, and the winner just destroyed them. I'm more interested to see what the future plans are for the winner with Bjorn.
Just to add that, I don't want to be negative about it. I'm not leaving about the winner. The winner's it's an outstanding performance.
Don't get upset.
Yeah, but he didn't really say anything behind it was any good. He's 6 lengths behind it.
Yeah, no, but it's not just about the rest. It's about what he did, and he got to the post hard. And if you're going to talk about a Derby winner next year being a Melbourne Cup,
where Typhoon Tracy is the TAB favourite and all the rage. But first of all, let's go back to the earlier ones of LA Wonder coming out. She just doesn't like the wet at all. And also coming out of the race, Love Me Like a Rock. Down the board, Hot Danish, $10. Typhoon Tracy, $1.50. And then we go right down to
$2 in the $1.90. So we'd already anointed her as the sporting bet market mover, and now it is like, wow.
Sam, I don't know what the expression means or how it came to be, but it's raining cats and dogs here. Greg Miles.
It's got worse here, I can tell you. They're moving up into the gates. And the mire is underway. USA jumps away well on the inside. Palacio de Crystal dropping back. Culminate first out. Typhoon Tracy jumps well. She's going forward now. As they settle down, it's Culminate the leader. Hot Danish strode to second. And Typhoon Tracy settled down in third, placing about a length away. No, heading to the 1,000 metres, being joined by Hot Danish, and they're a length and a half clear, no evidence needed. Typhoon Tracy, she gets a really nice trail behind them. 2 lengths away, Believe and Achieve. Yosei still tracking the warm favourite. They're being followed. Palacio de Crystal is a good way back on the fence when they swing around the corner back there in company with Mark White and Sacred Choice, who's pulling out wide. So they're on the swing for home. And Culminate with Hot Danish on the outside. Typhoon Tracy now, Nolan trying to find a way out. On her outside, there's no evidence needed. Believe and Achieve coming on it. Sacred Choice very wide. Still can't get a run on the favourite at the moment. Hot Danish led round the turn. Typhoon Tracy tries for the run on the inside. Sacred Choice in the meantime is winding up. And Believe and Achieve is coming with it. She's got the run, but she's got some work to do. Typhoon, because Sacred Choice has hit the lead. It's Sacred Choice in front of Typhoon Tracy, battling away. Hot Danish can't go on. Sacred Choice, she's reveling in this ground. Sacred Choice for Corey Brown. Typhoon Tracy can't rally. She's battling in the heavy actually, and it's Sacred Choice who comes away to win it by about 3. Typhoon Tracy second. Hot Danish walking over the line, 4 lengths away third. Believe in Achievements run fourth, and Culminate was fifth. And they're followed in by No Evidence Needed, Mark White, and Palacio de Crystal settling or finishing second last. And Yosei obviously hopeless in the ground. The filly is last home.
Well, she loves the wet conditions. Corey Brown, who had a magnificent carnival last year.
Particularly with his girls. She pays $22, $3.90. Typhoon Tracy, $1.30. Hot Danish at $2.30.
Well done to Joe Pride. That's a great result for the connections of Sacred Choice. Also just cost $40,000. Gets a Group 1 win over Australia's champion racehorse, Typhoon Tracy, persisting with being ridden off the speed. Hot Danish, well, poor little girl. Every time she runs, it rains, and she tries even harder. Yosai and also Palazzo de Crystal, notable wet track failures there yesterday, but just got the rhythm going here. Sacred Choice.
Most definitely, Bruce. I agree with you that I think the biggest asset of Typhoon Tracy is to roll and let them off, in particular on those heavy conditions. And look, I think Sacred Choice.
Race 7 in the pouring rain. It was getting into survival of the fittest here, and she was. Great trainer, Joe Pride. Places his horse beautifully. He knows the right time to put the blinkers on this mare, and when he puts them on, it's a shock tactic for her because she really lifts with them on. There's no doubt about it. Typhoon Tracy went well. That was her first try at a heavy track, and my old girlfriend Hot Danish, she was as brave as, because she's hopeless in it, and she still held on for a well beaten third, but at least she still had a dig, but far too good. Outpointed them for sure. The winner.
That's when I thought the racing was getting one-dimensional, because really you could put the pen through half the field by the time these races were run. There was only about 2 or 3 horses had any wet track form, and if they didn't have some wet track ability, they were absolutely no hope by this time of the day. Whitefriars was a little bit of a shock, but by the time this was run, the racing was starting to end up just wet trackers.
Yeah, I think the blinkers actually done this a little bit of a favour too. They went
bucketing down rain at the moment, and if the Weather Bureau Melbourne Cup is concerned. Okay, we're up to the running of the Salinger. Straight racing here as the rain continues to tumble down at Flemington Racecourse. Let's go down the toad odds. Black Piranha 11, all silent, late scratching. Catapult at $8.20. Eagle Siders at odds of $29. Response 22. Whitefriars 22. Double Any $4.30. Dwarf Command 24. And Quick Peak at 25.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's not really holding any water because there's not much on the horse's back, and probably
Ladder off and racing, and Double Annie jumped away nicely with Response on the outside, and she's heading straight over to the outside rail. Double Annie, she's going to come out there on her own pretty much. Swift Alliance jumped away quickly. Up there is Shell Scrape, and Quick Peak isn't too far away in the yellow colours. Catapulted just off them, Set for Fame, running about 5th early. Dwarf Commanders behind her, followed by Beat It and then Whitefriars. There followed Black Piranha. Response back towards the end of the field, and Chasm was last. And Double Annie's on a lonesome down the outside rail as they come to the 600 metres. Hard to line up whether she's in it or not. I think she's pretty much up there. Swift Alliance the leader with Shell Scrape as they come down towards the 400 metres. Set for Fame catapulted a wider out, and then Quick Peak down on the inside. Whitefriars next, and then Beat It. Double Annie, well, he's desperately riding her along down the outside. Don't know whether she's quite there. They're coming to the 200 metres now. And Quick Peak, Chasm get up on the inside. Whitefriars is coming on. Response down the outside. And then Set for Fame. It's Whitefriars the leader with 100 metres to go. The big boy in front by a length to Chasm on his inside. Beat It coming home. Whitefriars hanging on. Whitefriars beat It by nearly a length. Chasm will be third from Response, and then Dwarf Command, Set for Fame, Black Piranha, followed in by Quick Peak. Catapulted struggled in the ground, and is last home.
Jimmy Cassidy, well, he's had a good day. I think he's 47, Jim, the pumper.
Well, he's out of the marauding mare, and of course they hate the wet, but Whitefriars has proven himself a little bit too good for Beat It in Response. There's your totes on screen, that trifecta, $3,024. And Chasm getting home to finish in 4th spot, the first. And
a big win there for Rick Worthington. He spoke beautifully after the race, and we'll get to that shortly. But this has been his best preparation by far, Rich, and he was...
Mick Goody and the team there, they got a wonderful service there at Flemington. Piranha's run was all right, heading towards the Emirates. It was okay with the 58.5.
What about the performance of Whitefriars yesterday? Now, Richard, I know you're a big fan of this horse. Trained in Sydney, first time to Melbourne yesterday, and he couldn't have been more impressive yesterday, winning the Salinger.
You're exactly right, Joe. And he, I never thought a big, long-striding, flat-striding horse like him would handle a wet track and probably a bit greasy too, that track, because, when water falls on the grass, the leaf gets wet and they tend to slide a bit. But it never worried him, and he just brought that form from Sydney down, where he'd run that fantastic time in Sydney, and everyone said, that was made by the losers, and that's probably...
But Demerit is the TAB favourite as we go down the board. I can tell you the rain has eased up a little bit for the first time for many hours, so that's a little bit of good news. Let's hope that continues into the evening. Now down the tote board, We go $6.90 Dow, $6.90 for him. Down
Back to the connecting up a bit of your Melbourne Cup news with your jockeys. 80 now, De Berrick, number 10. This either smacks of some punters playing up their winnings. I don't know how many of those are around, or the others having a real good crack to get out, so they've got something here for Tuesday. $5 into 380. Best back.
Going to the gates. Wurim comes to his place, and now Rockpicker tucked away. Dow a little slow, and Albert the Fat went back. Wurim couldn't go either. Prince Brayman is the first one to ping out, and he had the lead in the early part from McClintock, and moving up Poor Judge third, and Demerit got a lovely trail fourth. Jungle is last of all. McClintock had the lead, Prince Brayman second, and moving up Jungle Rulers now 3 deep on the speed, 2 lengths to Rockpicker. He's enjoying a nice run. He's fourth over on the inside. Demerit is on his outside, and Poor Judge wider. They're followed then by Good Control, and then Dow. We're going to rock peels out very wide from Centennial Park, and then came Albert the Fat and Wurim last near the inside. Prince Brayman joined by Jungle Ruler as they swing it. Down on the inside, Rockpicker and McClintock. Demerit is coming through between horses. He's running home okay, and Poor Judge, and we're going to rock the widest runner. Rockpicker's got up on the inside. Demerit coming up the middle of the course. Poor Judge is there out wide. Poor Judge is coming home very nicely. We're going to rock's winding up. It's Poor Judge who hit the front. Here's one weaving through Centennial Park. Demerit clawing his way into it. Poor Judge in front of Demerit. Poor Judge from Demerit. Poor Judge. Poor Judge, he's been racing well. He beat Demerit. Third is Centennial Park. Then Albert the Fat. Dow. We're going to rock. Didn't quite let down late in the race. Then Jungle Ruler, Rockpicker. He got up on the inside to threaten. Couldn't go on. A break then.
He pressed the button.
He had a beautiful run behind him. He always looked like he was a big winning show, but he just couldn't claw back the
24 hours.
Yeah, I think it's about 60 mil since 9 o'clock yesterday, Joe. But look, this track.
So you think? Well, he is the favourite, clear favourite at $3.50, but the big mover after yesterday was definitely My Lucky Day. As much as $81 during the week, $41 yesterday before it ran in the Lexus is now a $10 chance into the Melbourne Cup. TAB number 24, and I can see some little bit of relevance there because Brew was number 24 after winning, and I think we've got some in Australia. How are you, Mike?
Oh, yes, g'day, Bruce. I agree with the panel. This is one of the better cups we have seen for a long time. And it's a funny one. You take out So You Think, who I can report has been very heavily backed in the last 24 hours. You know, it's a very good betting race.
Go over this too often. This is shocking. Of course, top weight for this year's Melbourne Cup, winning it last year. Drawn barrier 24.
Caulfield Cup. If he'd been wide in the running lane, maybe got on Monaco Consul's back, he'd have won the Caulfield Cup. He'd have won it easily with 57. Second quickest last 600 in the McKinnon on Saturday was a classic. Rest it ever. Classic. Rest it ever. Run. Look, he's going to be mighty hard to beat, you know, with
Top pick for so long.
That's got him out in the market. I think people have analysed him a bit more comprehensively. In 2009, he ran a personal best in his lead-up performance, but not so this year. Looking for him to win back-to-back, but Mackay won twice back-to-back, and in each occasion she ran a personal best at the lead-up run, and she's probably the best 2-miler we've ever seen. And she went up 4.5 kilos from her first win to her second, and this horse has got to go up 6 kilos. The other thing I would say about Shocking is that I have him rating 3 kilos higher this year than last year, and he's up 6 kilos. I think he's up against it.
That's Campanologist. The favourite is number 3. So You Think. I don't need to say too much more about him. The superlatives are there because he's here. He's had soft runs in weight for age races where the best weight for age horse with the best acceleration wins. Handicap, I remember Sky Heights going into it, drawing barrier 1 and completely hammered into the fence. Is that the only thing that can stop him?
Well, I suppose other than inability to run 3,200 metres, which can't be absolutely set in stone. We haven't seen him do it. But
his leaders back or whether he's 3 back the paint, he gets clear room. I think it'll be a get job.
The man of spoken to went to Flemington on Saturday saying, how can So You Think possibly win the cup? That came away saying, how the hell are they going to beat him? Is extraordinary. It was just one of those wins which was dazzling in its purity. Just comparison I can find to him is a horse that we'll never know, Dulcify. Now, he had the Derby wins, but he was coming into the Melbourne Cup off a straight 2,000-metre preparation, and we'll never know what would have happened in that cup. Now, I went back and watched both the runs together today. He was 10 times more impressive than So You Think in the Cox Plate. And So You Think was 10 times more impressive than Dulcify in the McKinnon. So he's just an outstanding horse.
Well, it's a good thing, but at the end of the day, it's a Melbourne Cup, and the punters are probably going to be taking $3.50, $4. So we've got one job and one
race in the current ownership come Tuesday.
Yeah, the thing with the horse is the draw. It's just an absolute hurler of a draw for a horse with a profile like him, who has a little bit of a history of getting on the bit. He'll be just tucked away closer than midfield there, smoking his pipe. And look, obviously a deserved favourite.
He'd have beaten those horses by even further. So on that, I can't tip against him. He's a level above them. I'll just run with him.
Richard, I am in total agreement with you. The simple So You Think.
Well, he's the highest rated horse that we've had coming into a Melbourne Cup. He exceeds the average Melbourne Cup rating by 2 lengths. And if he runs to his McKinnon rating, he'll win the Cup by 3 lengths. But having said that, you know, he's got to be Far Lap to do it. He's 3/4 of the way on the journey to what Far Lap did. Far Lap won the Cox Plate in 1930, backed up the next year, won the Fox, McKinnon and Melbourne Cup. Is this horse Far Lap? Well, I don't know. I've never seen a horse entered in the Melbourne Cup that hasn't raced beyond 2,000 metres. So I think that it's an absolute guess. I think it's very hard to assert he won't run it. Hard to assert he will. So from a professional point of view, he's made a bit of a mess of the race from a punting perspective. But I'm going to take the chance that he doesn't run it and go for value.
All right.
I think he's 100% right, and I'm in exactly the same boat. I have to bet against him. I'll obviously be throwing him into the multiples when he wins.
Fourth, trying to run 2 miles, but he's in career best form. Here's Nick Williams.
He's one over, and he's at least double the price that he should be.
All right. Well, I think he might firm up a little bit on that.
8 is American. Interesting horse out of a mare, an Irish-bred mare called America, wears Stars and Stripes colours. Trained by Alain the Roy Dupont Geelong. Win. No horses carried the 58 Geelong and come on. We've seen the media puzzles. Bauer come through with lightweights to the Cup. He's a clear chance, this horse.
I would agree. I believe what you saw, it's become the established pattern now for these European horses to have the hit out. Bauer media puzzle, of course, at Geelong spring to mind, and he'll run very well.
I think he's clearly the best of the overseas invaders. The one thing I loved about him when the gap came, but aggressiveness that he went through the gap, he's the only one that I'm including of the overseas gallopers.
Well, Shane, you've seen him. At least you can form an opinion on him.
Absolutely. And when you and I were there at Geelong, the minute he marched into the Manning Yard, the whole track wanted to have a look at him.
Well, he won the sash pre-race and then he won the Cup.
Yeah, look, I think he's the best of the I-Nationals.
Cup is a good form race into the Melbourne Cup. We laid a bet of 120,000 to 10,000 each way during the week. We've got him $10 he's into now. He's a clear third favourite, and I think there'll be continued support for the horse.
So he's got a good record. He's very impressive at Geelong when he got held up and he reacted in a tight situation when it was his, like I say, it was his first time he'd encountered a bigger field than 9, I think. So look, I like his acceleration. I think he's got class. I think he's got quality, and he's right in this race.
I have to agree. Seeing is believing. I love to see these European horses, and I think they've got a very good record of producing once you've seen them run well in this country. And his run in the Geelong Cup was a beauty. He sat.
He's act together now.
Yeah, he's a very, very good horse. I absolutely love him, and I think he's the one to be on for this Melbourne Cup. I cannot see him being out of the 3. Get on at home. He's never.
Do you think he's the real deal here for the Cup American?
Well, he follows the same pattern of media puzzle, which won the Geelong Cup, Melbourne Cup double, and Bauer and Crime Scene, who ran in the Geelong Cup and then ran second in the Melbourne Cup. It should be noted on my figures, Media Puzzle is the benchmark for Geelong Cup performances, and his win was 4 lengths higher than American. But that doesn't mean American hasn't got something up his sleeve. I like the horses who've had the one start, and I respect Puff's opinion.
He just a little query on him. He's got no wet track experience that I could find. So
This is not wet track for Europeans.
No,
this is not wet ground for European horses. He will be fine on the ground. There's no doubt about that.
Yes. I've just been round course. I've just come onto the straight, and the reading so far
a suggestion to us. This is closer to what we would call good ground. That yesterday our reading was when I just spoke to Mick a moment ago, he said they'd had just over 60 millimetres of rain. You know, that's a hell of a lot of rain in anyone's time. But this track has taken it remarkably well. It's a very free draining track. So we call it good ground.
Well, that's surprising to us because we're calling it probably a heavy 8 or 9, and with
No, that horse. Eileen Holberg gives Godolphin. Holberg gives Godolphin their number 1 seed. If that's the way we read Frankie Dettori's booking for this horse, they were desperate to get him in. They were in and about.
Always he think he liked Holborn, and also the weight he carry. I mean, 53.5. It was, I mean, that suited really a lot. The horse he won last time in this race in England, and now he's here.
Had 4 place getters in 13 attempts, and this horse might be the one to provide them. With the win, he gets lots of ticks for me. He can race reasonably handy. He's field competitive. His left-handed form is okay. He did beat Madagar by 6 lengths. Now, Madagar, I think he's probably number 1 of the visitors.
He's a winner of 6 from 12, and there's no.
He and Americana, the two are national.
Of success in the Cup, David.
I haven't put him in my selections, and I think it's a mistake. Frankie's obviously on him because he's a UAE bred. Well, you know, you can tip 7 or 8 in this. Yeah. Horse is a live chance in the race. You can from day one when Frankie said, "Here's my ride," they took the risk to not run him. They were hoping they'd get him in. Remember, they pulled the horse out because they weren't happy last year. You know, a week before. The thing I like about him, he's got this Royal Ascot form. This is older form. You know, this is from last year, but he shows quality. He puts his head down and he goes like a horse that will run the trick. He's got to step up in distance. There's all those factors about him. But the feeling I'm getting from the stable is that they think he's a really serious horse, and that's why he's here.
Look at that win. That's a 2-mile race at Royal Ascot. And then after that, he resumed and he beat Madagar first up by 6 lengths over 2,400. That's serious form. I've backed it. I think you'll win.
Would you have liked it to have had a running?
Solid there.
24 is my lucky day who made it through the Lexus. The biggest win Steve Moran's ever seen in a career spanning 30 years. It's a huge call from Steve. We'll get to explain it more and perhaps put some spin on it. Wayne Hawkes talking about my lucky day. Gonna have a go after what you saw on Saturday.
Absolutely. I spent all day ducking and weaving. I wanted to avoid Michael and Wayne because I knew I'd cop a shellacking. And yes, I was a nong by saying that he couldn't win the Lexus. But you've got to believe what you see. Linton dealt with Precedence and Mudra. And he absolutely dealt with Linton. Just that last 100 metres, I think he just wanted to duck in a fraction on Jimmy. And he going again. I mean, that's as good a Lexus win as you've seen since last year.
Shocking.
Yeah.
It's
got to be a lot.
Who I went with last year because of that, and I am supporting you all the way here, Steve. He broke 12 for his last 5 furlongs there. He is one of the most outstanding emerging stayers I've seen for a long, long time. I went back to the So You Think upside. We went to Flemington yesterday and saw 2 amazing horses. One that we already knew about, one we know about now. He's an each-way special in the Cup. And why you can.
Well, let's have a look at your full market here, including my lucky day.
He's been very well backed, Bruce. $9.50 he's into now. Wouldn't surprise me if he starts close to second favourite.
He looks better. You know, he looked better straight after the race than what he did before the race, so which is good.
The way that he'd been winning in Sydney, many experts felt that he'd been beating nothing. But yesterday, you beat a field that was trying to get into the Lexus. So he's on the limit weight of 51. Luke Nolan takes the ride. A number of pluses.
Yeah, it is. You know, obviously you've got the superstar Durham Barrier 3, and which makes it, you know, I wouldn't have been upset if he had drawn 24, no disrespect, but he's going to get a great run from there. But we're going to get a great run from 6 as well. And
the horse, I think he's a really big talent on the rise, this horse, for the staying class races. Look, it's a mystery to me whether he'll handle, if the track is heavy, I don't know whether he'll get through it. I don't think he's had any experience on it. So he might love it. He might go better on it. Who knows?
They've really kept the wrap off. Team Hawks have kept the wrap off this horse. The wrap will be on him next year, don't worry.
That I can't forget is what came from.
What price would you have him at?
Well, the computer has him assessed at as 3rd favourite, but such is the body of percentage that's got to be distributed amongst so many horses. I think he's under the odds at the price, but the computer still thinks he's going to run 3rd. But for mine, he's not really a valuable bet. I think the Platinum Committee has to have a look at the Lexus. It's 3 of the last 5 years. It's rated very, very strong Group 2 level. So, you know, it's about time it got raised, in my opinion. My close friend, Michael Fraser, who I've never met a better judge at looking at the horses gallop. He said he told me some time ago, he said, this horse has got a stride of a champion stayer and keep your eye on him. And he's been proven right. And the horse just kept getting better. And as the distances get longer, he gets better. So, you know, he's a serious racehorse, but, you know, at $9, he's probably found his price.
I saw on Saturday, Bruce, So You Think and My Lucky Day. I think, you know, if you're playing trifectas, to me, the three local.
20, I'll get the first 4. For me, So You Think on top. I'm going to stand him out in my trifectas. Bruce, I believe you'll
You know, magically, Steve. Magically, Steve, flying under the radar. My Lucky Day has racked up to the millimetre 10,000 Ks, and he's done it without any of us noticing it.
And win in the Geelong. Desperado, I thought, was a great.
To have a ticket on Bart Cummings in the Emirates Melbourne Cup in the 150th year of its running.
So you are tipping.
And you?
Yeah, look, I think that Americane's the one for me. I think they're very keen on his chances. The people that are around the horse, he's done extremely well since the Geelong Cup. Shocking.
Fantastic race. I'm going to go with So You Think. I think it's going to get the perfect run in transit behind Desperado. Maybe I might be able to have something on that at big odds.
And Richard, you're shivering your tips off at the moment.
Very cute. That's a beauty. I'm going to stick with the champ. So You Think. I can't tip against him.
I suspect we're going to see a very good horse, and I suspect that Holberg is a very, very good horse. And to think that they bet $35, I think he's into 26 now. I have to go with him at the price. I think Americane, we've had a look at him. He looks a serious racehorse. Shocking. I'd love to put So You Think in, and I'd love to put Desperado in, but it's just such a fat field. I'm Holberg, Americane, Shocking, Melly.
The way of the internationals. What about you, David?
I think what we saw on Saturday was special with So You Think. I think we saw something that was world class. The way he stepped up, so he was third at his third start after winning a maid, and nobody thought he'd be in the finish that day. I think he's a really good handicap horse. You've got to put him in everything. Shocking's obviously a chance, and Americane is good enough on what he did in Geelong. But again,
150th running, and one of the best fields that we've ever seen assembled.
Tomorrow, a very, very honest run, I thought, in the Caulfield Cup. And as I said, he's strong form at 2,400.
In there, don't you worry. I'm not that biased, but not on the top line. I've gone for Holberg to beat Americane. So You Think, My Lucky Day. I know
it's on top choice. Dom, take it away. Well, for me, punning's all about value. And if you just looked at who might win the race and who's most likely to win the race, well, the computer's got So You Think from Desperado and My Lucky Day. Is there any value in that? What we do, we have a ratio where we put the market price over the computer price, and the ratio that comes out defines the size of the bets we have. So the best value bet in the race is Zipping, and I think that Desperado is next. Actually, the highest rating value horse in the race is Zipping, and the next best is Mr. Medici. But in order of likelihood, when you factor in the price that they are, I think Zipping's the best bet, Desperado, Manigar, and Mr. Medici.
Okay, Michael, just looking here, a customer's just had 1,000 on Linton and 1,000 on Once Were Wild, so I'm tipping he's been watching the show in the last quarter of an hour. But So You Think here, the $3 favourite for the Melbourne Cup tomorrow. My Lucky Day, the second pick at 9.
So You Think. He was 340 a little while ago, now 320. Desperado 940 out to Americane, Shocking, and My Lucky Day.
50 years. Shocking at $10. So You Think 310, 330, 320. One of the heaviest backed Melbourne Cup favourites in many, many years. Zipping 24. Down to Americane at $10. Over the page we go to the next of our runners. And that is Tokai Trick, down $20, and then we continue down Precedence. James Winks, $23, and My Lucky Day, who's been heavily tried, at $10, $9.50 and $10.
If they're correct, we probably have a good chance of winning.
Well, everyone wants to know what you think about him running 3,200 metres, because that's the query that a lot of people have been putting on him.
No problem. I'd say I've bought him to do it, trained him to do it, and he's bred to do it. So what are we waiting for?
And Precedence, what about it?
6 months ago when it comes to So You Think, and you said, someone said to you, Sam, He'll win the Cox Plate, his second Cox Plate. He'll win the McKinnon, and he'll come out. He'll be the heaviest back favourite in history of Melbourne Cup in the last 50 years, and he will win it. What would you have thought?
I wouldn't have believed it, Terry. And as I said earlier, it's a shame.
I think just getting a little bit nervous. That's a nervous sweat. He's not really hot. He's just a little nervous.
Well, there's a caveat. Ready? Racing the 150th time the Cup's underway. Illustrious Mill against Low. So You Think bounced out well. So did Desperado. Sabine jumped away well. Once for Wild on the improve towards the leaders. American just off them, followed by Harris Tweed. Precedence getting over close to the inside. Bucciolati guiding over their heels towards the rail. Shootout was next. Harris Tweed on the improve ahead of him. Campanologist next. And dropping well back in the field at a moderate tempo only was Shocking, who's outside of Linden, and Profound Beauty went back to last. It's Once for Wild going up on the outside of the stablemate Desperado in the early stages. Zavita's third. Harris Tweed was caught wider out, and they followed Mr. Medici. And then came Holberg, So You Think, staying one away from the rail, with about 5 lengths of the leading horses early. Shootout next to the outside from American. The Lucky Day not far away from Toko Trick getting up on the rail. Campanologist, Fred Rudel, Common Illustrious Blue. And came Bucciolati, Monaco, Consul, Lincoln, caught a little wide as they make their way towards the turn out of the straight. He's followed then by Manigaro from the inside. Precedence as well back from Profound Beauty, and then zipping third last. Master O'Reilly and Shocking from his outside barrier had gone back the last of all. Once for Wild is the leader in the Cup, and he ran along at a good tempo. Jim Cassidy on the mare. Once for Wild by about 3 lengths here. In second placing, Desperado, shaded by Harris Tweed. About a length and a half away behind these horses is Savit, who's handily poised. Is being followed closely in the field by Holberg, who's not too far away over on the outside. On the rails with him is Mr. Medici. And then So You Think about 6 or 7 lengths from the leader. Then Tokai Trick, and they're followed by Shootout, A Lucky Day. Illustrious Blue, midfield the rail, American the outside, and then Red Ruler, Bucciolati, followed by Campanologist, Manigar, next outside Profound Beauty, being followed by Zipping over on the outside, and then Precedence, Monaco Consul, Zipping, Master O'Reilly, and Shocking brings up the rear. Once for Wild for Jimmy Cassidy and Gay Waterhouse with a 4-length lead. Harris Tweed, Desperado. Savita's running fourth, 1,200 left to go. Mr. Medici is fifth, and they're followed by So You Think and Holberg together. Holberg is out 3 wide, 1 to Tokai Trick. He's followed by Shootout, and then the Lucky Day starting a move now. Followed by American, and behind them Illustrious Blue, Red Ruler, Campanologist, Bucciolati, Manigar. Profound Beauty, well back in the field is Linton, is being followed then by Precedence, Zipping, then Monaco Consul, and towards the end still is Shocking and Master O'Reilly. Up to the turn now, Once for Wild, the narrow leader from Harris Tweed, Desperado. So You Think is poised on the outside as they swing around the turn. Next is Mr. Medici. Back behind those horses, it is Shootout and Savit. They're on the swing for home. And here Desperado trying to get up on the inside. Once for Wild, Harris Tweed, a Lucky Day. Tokai Trick stayed on the inside. He's dashed to the front. Here comes So You Think down the outside. With 250 metres to go. So You Think it's raced up. American is a danger. Then Harris Tweed. Tokai Trick the rail. So You Think in front. American is coming at him hard. American race past So You Think, and then Lucky Day. American for France. Coming right away, American. American is coming away. American, Trevian. Scored by 2 lengths for Lucky Day. So You Think has run third. And coming home, Gary solidly fourth, but Zipping. He's followed closely by Harris Tweed, Precedence, and then Holberg, and behind them Manigar. Further back is Tokai Trick, Illustrious Blue, and then came Shootout, Once for Wild. Further back is behind these Red with Linton, and Desperado looks to have failed to complete the course, unsaddled just in front of the winning post. It was a magnificent cup. Precedence, Zipping, then Monaco Consul, and towards the end still is Shocking and Master O'Reilly. Up to the turn now, Once for Wild, the narrow leader from Harris Tweed, Desperado. So You Think is poised on the outside as they swing around the turn. Next is Mr. Medici. Back behind those horses then is Shootout and Zavit. They're on the swing for home. And here Desperado trying to get up on the inside. Once for Wild Harris Tweed, Lucky Day. Turkey Trick stayed on the inside. He's dashed to the front. Here comes So You Think down the outside with 250 metres to go. So You Think it's raced up. Americana's a danger. Then Harris Tweed. Turkey Trick the rail. So You Think in front. Americana's coming at him hard. American race past So You Think, and then Lucky Day. American for France. Coming right away. American is coming away. American Trevian scored by 2 lengths for Lucky Day. So You Think has run third, and coming home very solidly fourth was Zipping. He's followed closely by Harris Tweed, Precedence, and then Holberg, and behind them
Triumph with some great horses over the years, has done a Dermot World. He's come from Europe and won the Cup. What a magnificent ride from Gerald Mosse. He sat in 3 deep, but with cover. He never panicked. He peeled at the right time. He had So You Think in front of him. So You Think had over-raced a little bit early in the race and might have had a little weakness. But Gerald just peeled off his back here and started to round him up. And by the clock tower, he had him. Lucky Day was battling on inside him. Harris Tweed was brave. But in the final 100 metres, Simon, this horse dominant.
He's a big, strong, 17-hand staying machine. We saw that in...
Take my time and I know when I'm going to press. He will answer.
Press the button in a way.
Press the button at the right time.
Yeah. Now, he looks as if he could go round again, doesn't he? He's pulled up very, very well, hasn't he?
Oh, yeah, he's
very strong horse.
Very strong.
The fame of the Melbourne Cup now spreads even greater internationally.
Sure. And I think he could prove now to be in Europe to win other good one.
Yes, it's probably going to make a lot more of the Europeans come out and chase the riches, and a world-class ride from Gerald as well.
Yeah, sure. It's a result of a long team, and we know well together, and it's a marvelous to have a horse like that. And the owner is very sportive because he...
We know who the top 4 are, that's for sure. 8, 4, 20, 28, 24, 3 and 4. 10.90 and 3.20 for American. Lucky Day, 3.30. Bad luck, guys. It was nearly a great bit of training there and a coup. So You Think, 2 even. The favourite pays terrific, the place. It happens every year. Don't know what
the whole trip, but geez, he's got some ticker. He kept on going. The trifecta and the first 4s.
Third, coming home.
Well, it was a vintage cup, an outstanding stay. The further they went, the further he outstayed them. Brilliant for Gerard Mosse and Alain de Roy Dupre. Fantastic win for American and Australian owners Jerry Ryan and Kevin Bamford. And he'll take on Hong Kong and then the world, perhaps the Arc. Lucky Day, outstanding. So You Think, outstanding. Pull for the first 12 metres. I think criticism of Arnold slightly offbeat there. But Shane was a terrific.
Might be one of the best 1, 2, 3, 4 finishes ever. The form coming into the race, American was 1-1-1-1. You don't see this very often in a Melbourne Cup anyway. Runner-up, Lucky Day was 1-1-1. So You Think, Superstar was 1-1-1-1-1. It's hardly ever that you see one set of picket fences in a Melbourne Cup, let alone 3, and they ran 1, 2, 3. 4th was Zipping, who was having the best spring of his life. He is flying.
They win the Sandown Classic again.
Oh, you had to beat. And I agree with Bruce. I wrote about it in the winning post this week, Bruce. The criticism of Stephen Arnold's ride. They got to get off the Persian rugs. They were kidding. He rode it a treat. The horse pulled. Mark Cummings has had a theory for 1,000 years about running 10,000 metres in your preparation. This horse had run 92.4, so he hadn't got to the 10,000. When he come out, he didn't go for the horse, which is what you do at Flemington. The horse over-raced and pulled. If the race was in another 3 weeks, which it's not, I'd probably back So You Think now that he's had the run. He rode it a treat, Stephen Arnold.
All right, So You Think shortly.
Can I say one thing? So You Think, the last 3 horses that beat So You Think?
Yeah, American.
American, All American and Star Spangled Banner. You just don't like the Yanks.
We should have sent him over.
Kane becoming the 4th international horse to win the Melbourne Cup on Tuesday.
Serious racehorse, there's no question about that. Anything up to about 1.5 miles, 2,400 metres beyond, he is very, very strong indeed. Suggestions that Stephen Arnold went a little bit too soon. I'm here to dispel those thoughts because it's absolute rubbish. I thought under the circumstances it was, again, one of those prize rides. And I thought Lucky Day also ran very, very well and didn't get everything in his favour down the straight. Zipping, like he just continues to race very well indeed. And wasn't he strong over the concluding stages? But again, I sincerely believe that he performed like he has in the past Melbourne Cups that he's run in. He's an outstanding horse, this. He's the best stayer in the world by a long way, I'm saying. His record speaks for itself. He's a magnificent animal, individual in himself. It was a sensational ride by Mosse. This bloke must be able to train. I don't know a lot about him, but everyone says he's the...
Oh, no, he's got a wonderful record.
He's the real thing, the trainer. The second horse, My Lucky Day, look, he's dead set in cotton wool now. They kept the wraps off him this year. They'll be right on him again next year. And what can you say about So You Think? He just wasn't seasoned for the Melbourne Cup. He pulled his head off. I still think he's a mile and a half, 2,000 metre weight for age horse anyway. But his class carried him a long way there. It was a sensational race. The best cup I've ever seen.
It's one of the best I've seen too, and I have to agree with that. I know the Europeans don't rate Americane particularly highly. They say there are better stayers in Europe, but you know, on the day, I don't know where they would have found one to beat him. He was just a wonderful effort. I have to give Gerard Mosse an absolute feather. He rode Flemington like he's been riding there and in that race all his life. The way he tracked up, the way he took free rides on the back of other horses, the way he never panicked when he was in the field. And he did it at Geelong as well. You know, he has just come here and said, well, I can ride in Australia because, you know, I can ride this style. Whereas some other jockeys came here and did exactly what they've been doing for the past, nearly 10 years?
Pretty good.
Sitting them out 3 deep. And it doesn't work here. I mean,
and opinion in Australian racing circles, not only within the industry, but outside of it. The sale of So You Think after the Melbourne Cup on Tuesday. It's potentially the last time that we'll see this great horse racing in Australia. Well, hasn't it sparked some opinion around the nation, this sale? In my view, Michael...
This is a pretty special horse. You don't find these horses too often. And we've been looking at this horse for a while now, and he just ticks all the boxes.
Let's do all the stringent vet test. Is the deal over the line, as we'd say?
Look, the deal is basically done, right? We're just waiting to vet the horse. We have our own vet coming down from who's actually in America at the moment at the Breeders' Cup. He will vet the horse
internationally and be successful.
The sky is the limit.
Absolutely. Look, he's got a rating, a time form rating of 133, right? That's extreme, you know. We saw Golda Kova win there this morning, right? She has the same rating as he has. Like, she won her third Breeders' Cup. That shows you what people think of this horse.
Well, you already own High Chaparral, so why buy a horse like this? You know,
that's our business.
Okay.
Well, one would think that would be...
Look, I'm sure this is a great ambassador for Australian racing, and hopefully...
The Boom Apprentice from New Zealand. Well, the big one of the day, it's the running of the Crown Oaks. Let's have a look at the tote odds here for you. Brazilian Pulse, she's a very warm favourite with Tape Hunters, $3. Yose's at $12. Then we go down to Precious Lorraine at $8.20. Sasa at $5.30. Placement 13, Dislago $14. And then Kittens is also given a...
Now, Brazilian Pulse this morning was $3.80 into $3. Now, it opened 3. It got to 3.20, and punters have had another dip back to 3. So there's no doubt this will be our sporting bet market mover.
Did to pick herself up off the canvas at the end of 2,500 metres and sprint home from what should have been...
Pulse was one of the first to jump out. Dislago a little slow. She's at 10, got away well. She's up second early, and Kittens has went up there on the speed as Brazilian Pulse is the leader at the turn out of the straight. Kittens on the scene on her outside. Then she's at 10, followed by Hearts of Love. Not too far away, VRC, and they're trailed by second placing. Then 2 lengths in third as she's at 10, Hearts of Love. Sasa's off round the outside. She wants to be right on the speed. They've slowed the tempo that much. She's going up with Brazilian Pulse, and they go to Kittens, who surrenders the lead now and goes back to third at the end. So Sasa, once she finds the lead, she scoops away out to the 1,400 metres. Wanted to go quicker, and she leads by 4. In second place, in Brazilian Pulse, the favourite with these daring tactics, a half a dozen lengths clear as she heads out to the 1,000 metres, perhaps even a shade more over. Brazilian Pulse, the favourite has to take the field up in the Oaks. 2.5 Kitten, she's at 10. Hearts of Love next to the inside. Paracine being followed by Placement Shamrocker. Precious Lorraine, they've got 800 left to go. Now then Dislago, Yose commences her move, and Speed of Dark is back last. They're nearing the turn. Sasa are about 3 Brazilian Pulse. A half she's at 10. Running on then is Paracine. Kittens the rail from Hearts of Love as they corner. Back behind those horses, the Osei has pulled out around Largo into the straight. Sasa comes back quickly and Brazilian Pulse pounces on her. So then she's at 10. Kitten's getting up on the inside. Further back, Shamrocket coming in placement, putting in a run as well. It's Brazilian Pulse dashing to the lead at the 250. Placement starting a run on down the outside, and then Shamrocket. Brazilian Pulse the leader by a length and a half to placement. Shamrocket coming. Brazilian Pulse in top of the 100 to go. Shamrocket a length and a half away. Brazilian Pulse clear though, and Brazilian Pulse won the 8. Shamrocket a length away. Placement 2 lengths third. Kittens 4. Sasa next in, followed by She's at 10. A break to Precious Lorraine, followed Maracine. Yosei didn't come on, nor did Largo. Long break in the field, Hearts for Love. And a distant last is Speed of Duff.
Well, favourites. It's a favourites race. 7 of the last 8 have won the Oaks. It was a good win. It really was.
You know, we pay homage to a lot of geniuses in this game. Paul Moroney, Mike's brother, he must have as good an eye for a horse as anyone in the world.
Yeah.
He knocks up finding these ones. They're never.
A great effort from Mike Moroney to keep that fleet together in one preparation. Well into Rowan and all the team there, Rupert Lee and Johnny O'Neill, who bought into the horse. There's Rowan there in the middle. Pulse Pharmacy Man, that's where the names come from. He's put a lot of money into racing. And this was one of the cheapest I've ever bought, about 20,000. And it's a great win off a Ballarat maiden in September to win an Oaks. Well done.
She's a beauty. I really like her. And a typical filly.
Around who probably a little bit new. I think she'll be an autumn filly. And the other one, Sasa, she didn't know whether she's Arthur or Martha up and back, and she charged and went forward. And it was a good ride, Craig Williams. That's what got the Vickies.
Yeah. Doesn't it beyond, or do you think she's best placed as an older horse back at the mile or, those shorter distances?
Look, Richard, we'll go down the traditional path towards the AJC Oaks. And at this stage, we'll just keep her against her own age and 6, and we'll just see what transpires at the end of it. But a little bit hard to tell just off one campaign. But every time we sort of raised the bar, distance and quality-wise, she kept doing it. So a little bit hard to work out at the stage. But look, I think.
Gun sprinter Haylist was today cleared by Racing Victoria's vets, setting up a much-anticipated match race with fellow superstar Black Caviar. And such is the interest in the Patinack Farm Classic that it's set to take top billing on the final day of Flemington's Cup Carnival.
To look at, she is the most striking, brilliant mare on the racetrack. Black Caviar is just as impressive. 7 starts for 7 wins. And this is the man, the strong favourite for the sprinting shootout. She's currently $1.65. Haylist $3. Last start winner Star Witness at $9.50.
They're the two that are going to contest the lead. Haylist can get up on the bit a little bit. He can pull a little bit. We saw that at Moonee Valley when he was out, caught 3 wide and he eased him back. He sort of got up on the bridle for a while. Then he came back. As opposed to the mare, she's bomb-proof. She's won twice up the straight. I think Haylist will lead. I think she'll sit on him.
You think so?
I think so. Well, they both got brilliance flipped around here, so I can tell you today, early money for Black Caviar, but today the money's just about 1-for-1 Black Caviar and Haylist. A few bets of around $100, and there's been quite a few of them on all silent at the $31, the outsider of the field. Interesting, isn't it? He has one down the straight. He's brilliant chance behind these other two. Going with a favourite this time. I'm with Black Caviar, unbeaten, 7 from 7. This is her first Group 1 test. No issue with that at all.
It's up for this massive highlight on Emirates Stakes Day. This is the Patinack Farm Classic, and what a classic it should be. One for the purists of racing. 3 or 4 of the best sprinters in the country taking each other on down the straight under sunny skies and a track bordering on good. Most of the big betting on this race has already been done. It's all been on Black Caviar. Let's have a look at the Super Tab readout, which will show you that she's quite backable on the tote at $2, shorter than that.
He splits, he can run. If he's within 4 lengths of him at the 200, he'll be in it.
This next horse, number 2, Haylist, he's a monster and he is a flying machine. Let's have a look at his win. This is the big girl, number 6, Black Caviar, unbeaten. Might just be the best sprinting mare I've seen. She can.
Group 1 class mares look like Hamilton maidens. Look, she's, as you know, unbeaten, 7 from 7. She's running these freak times being eased up. Look, there's a live chance she's too good for them, which makes her the best in the world.
I'll say. All right, and down the bottom, this is David's top pick. This is the 3-year-old Star Witness. He was dominant.
The $21 on the tote, 10 points of value here on course. Haylist, $3 to $3.40. There's been a bit of a drift here. $19 to 26, 8 points of value on course. Black Caviar, $1.70 to $1.80 now, $1.85, $1.80 on the tote. And Star Witness, who's been skinny on the totes today.
Don't worry too much about the drift here on track. The sporting bet market mover is the mighty mare, number 6, Black Caviar. She
Racing. Black Caviar jumps pretty well near the outside. Haylist seemed to jump out okay. Melito, one of the first to show in the early stages, but it's Eagle Falls up the middle of the track who has the lead. Black Caviar's out deep in second placing. Haylist just off them with Melito. Star Witness stalking Black Caviar. Hortensia second last. All sign at last of all. So they go past the 800 metres and it's now Black Caviar out wide. Eagle Falls close to the middle. Haylist between them. So the two favourites are right up there. Melito tracking them. Star Witness still right behind Black Caviar, followed by Hortensia and All Silent. Coming down to the 400 metre mark now. And Black Caviar, the narrow leader. Schofield getting a little busy on Haylist. Star Witness peels over the heels of the mare. He's a big danger. Melito's putting in a read. Black Caviar still the leader. Mellon hasn't really moved. She's two in front. Star Witness second. Haylist can't go on. Hortensia runs on. Black Caviar, though. Holt Star Witness at bay. She's unbeaten out of 8. What a champion she is. Black Caviar beats Star Witness by 3.5 lengths. Hortensia third, All Silent 4. Back behind them is Melito. Haylist, well, he's a lot better than that, folks. So he really weakened out of it. He's second last, and Eagle Falls last home.
Well, all the questions answered in one gallop up the straight. Freakish, isn't she? Absolutely freakish. And for Mellon and Ben Mellon, what a beautiful ride. She's like Star Witness in a twinkling of an eye. Now, that's Hortensia running on its third spot there with a black cap and All Silent finishing as hard as he can. But she's away. She's in a class of her own.
Yeah, you said it. Ben Mellon crouched down in the saddle and said, let's go, but he hardly had a horse to do it on.
Right, what a relief. And what a serious racehorse.
Yes, but it was anything but.
Yeah, well, listen, that was a quality lot of horses, and it's simply awesome, wasn't she? It was amazing. I've got the pleasure of being very closely involved, but I think it'd make the hair stand up in the back of anyone's neck, you know.
I stood beside you during the race.
Schofield getting a little busy on Haylist. Star Witness peels over the heels of the mare. He's a big danger. Melito's putting in a run. Black Caviar still the leader. Mellon hasn't really moved. She's two in front. Star Witness second. Haylist can't go on. Hortensia runs on. Black Caviar, though. Holt Star Witness at bay. She's unbeaten out of 8. What a champion she is. Black Caviar beats Star Witness by 3.5 lengths. Hortensia third, All Silent 4. Back behind.
looks like she's absolutely cantering. Looks like she's doing it at half pace. Then they put up the time. She's run 1:7.96, so she's broken 1:8. The course record here on a lightning fast track is 1:7.16. With a tailwind held by a glacier. And she's done it comfortably. She's absolutely murdered some very good horses. I just can't say enough about this mare. What an absolute sprinting machine she is. Black Caviar wins 180 on Super Tap. Sporting Bet to the last 600, 22.77 the last 400. So broke 11 in that split. 18.
The best to last. If you weren't a believer, we are a believer now. Black Caviar, what a superstar she could be.
Well, I said she was the best sprinting mare I've ever seen. If she keeps going the way she's going, she might be able to drop the mare off.
Into the plain stuff, isn't she?
She's like a Ferrari, mate. Yeah, she's something special.
Bay. She's a big man out of 8. What a champion she is. Black Caviar beats Star Witness by 3.5 lengths. Hortensia third, All Silent 4. Back behind them is
8 out of 8. Her first Group 1 won't be a last, of course, cost 210,000. And she too yesterday became a $1 million earner. Punters pleased. She ran 1:7.96 on a dead 4, got within close to the record held by Glacier. Ben, between the 1,000 and 800, she went 10.58, 800 and 600, 10.36, and 600, 400, 10.59. She's run 3 and 31.58 and did it easily.
That's the frightening part. Imagine what you do to her rivals when someone actually gets to the bottom of her.
How close to the bottom did you get?
Well, I'll give her a couple of little taps in the back end, but like I said, it's hard to say, but it'll be really interesting to see something come up alongside with her at the furlong. And
I get it. I mean, you got pitch 300 for a little wave to the crowd. Just that I mean, Miss Andretti is probably a benchmark in recent years for sprinters, along with Takeover Target, of course. But she's the best I've seen.
We rang Pat Hyland at home. Now, Pat Hyland rode the grapevine. He won't hear of any sprinter vehicles that may. When the Harubas have come along, one by one, he's just said, it wouldn't blow wind up Fane's, you know what. He said yesterday from his home, she is clearly the best sprinter I've seen since Fane. So the accolades are rolling in.
I'll show you.
It's 2 in a row, the Valley round a turn and Flemington down the straight. She has dropped the best sprinters in the country in the space of 50 metres arrogantly.
Can you believe it?
Yeah, it's awesome, isn't it, Bruce? She's the best I've got. I don't know about the world. I'm not worried about the rest of them.
Worry about that later. But the emotion, I mean, there's a feeling of relief, pride. What is it for you with this horse?
Oh, listen, it's massive relief. You know, she's had a build up since day one, and to finally crack that Group 1. You know, most horses with her ability probably would have won a Group 1 at their third or fourth start. They just haven't fallen for her with injury and so on. But to finally get today, and you know, it's just a great relief. It would have been the things she can do. You just close your eyes.
Tensi was fantastic. Kane Lynch done a great job with her. You saw the quality that she has, but we also saw the quality of the winner. Just the winner was just sensational. My man, it was great to see her back and improvement. But geez, that winner's good.
Not everyone in awe of the winner, or Tensi probably goes up off that, but now showing the best we've seen. So
In the Patnack Farm Classic, and it was classic. Black Caviar putting on one of the greatest displays we've ever seen down the Flemington Straight. And she is now, Ronnie Duffsey, the world's highest ranked sprinter as a result.
And deservedly so, Joe. What a carnival. Just when you think that it can't get any better, it does. And we may have saved the best till last. So much quality over this carnival. We may have seen 3 champions, American, So You Think, and Black Caviar. Black Caviar is just a superstar. She beat up, you analyse that field yesterday, and she beat up one of the hottest sprint fields ever assembled and made them look like maideners. She is a champion.
Apple summed her up as an awesome machine after the race.
Yes, I think seeing is believing. She runs the time. She's just got the physique. She's got the approach to it. She just seems to have everything. And oh, don't we just love watching her? You know, she made them look very ordinary. And like, we're talking about some serious racehorses in themselves. Like Star Witness, you know, like his form down the straight is absolutely outstanding. He is a very, very good galloper. And she simply left him in her weight. It's absolutely incredible. You know, I felt a bit sorry for little I shouldn't say little Haylist, but, you know, his balloon pricked at the 600 metres. He was really struggling. So, you know, there was obviously concerns about him going into the race, and they simply came to fruition. Hortensia was satisfactory, but, oh, look, you can't say any more. You know, she ran it.
Yeah, look, what can you say? Good on you, Peter Moody. He says, well, I'm not going out. Let the world come and take me on. I got the best player in the world here. She'll, you know, he's saying the Lightning, the Australia Stakes, the Sangster, the TJ Smith, maybe a race in Queensland. Look, she's the Tiger Woods of sprinters. You know, she attracts an appearance fee. If anyone wants her, do buy. They can pay $500,000 to get her. Pommies won't be able to afford her. Maybe she could have some Hong Kong ambitions next year, but she is the girl. And if they want to see her, they got to pay for her. She attracts an appearance fee. That girl.
Get a job as the manager. Yeah, why not? Talking that up beautifully. Look, and rightly so. I don't want to gush on, but everything's been said. She's a superstar. She's the best sprinter in the world.
Peter Moody's comments, and you just touched on them, Ron. We just lost one great horse from Australia. If the world want to describe her as the world's best sprinter, let them come here and have a crack at us.
Or pay for the privilege.
One thing I'll add.
The clash in
the Emirates Stakes. And let's have a look at the Super Tab readout before we go to David Gutley to give us an update of awkwardly drawn, but this is his distance, $14. Trusting needs to stand up and be counted. Drum Boots, the lightweight suits, $10. Palacio de Crystal, terrific mare. The drawing track certainly brings her right into the race.
No movement. Palacio de Crystal, 9 to 10. Toe price around that same mark. Snow Alert's 14 to 16 now. And LA Wonder, the big odds out of the back. Going forward, Snow Alert. I didn't there wasn't anything that sort of jumped out and said, yep, mentioned a few of those pushing forward, and they will. However, you still don't know on paper who the actual leader of the race is. Now, this can work two ways. One, there can be five of them push forward, you get tempo. The other thing is they may get away with some sort of cheap mid-race sectionals, which will make it hard for some of those back markers.
Racing now. Out there, jumping away okay. Gold Salute a little slow to move, and so is Palacio de Crystal. One of the first out, Captain Sonador, and going forward there is Sniper's Bullet. He's out looking for the lead, but he's got company. Albert the Fat from out wide and Trusting go up. Albert the Fat takes up the running now from Sniper's Bullet. Trusting. He settles down third, a length and a half away in the field. Captain Sonador in company with Black Parada. Lunyat Forever the outside. Rathera's holding the rails in that bunch. A length and a half to Sound Journey. Oh, Rathera might have got credit there. He dropped back right through the field. Sound Journey copped a whack as well. Gold Salute's getting up on the inside. Dow Drum beats the next from Palacio to Crystal Wall Street. Sound Journey trying to balance up next, and he's being followed then by Snow Alert and then Chasm and LA Wonder. Albert the Fat, the leader. Sniper's Bullet a neck away, coming around the home turn. A length and a half to Trusting. Lunyat Forever right behind them. Captain Sonador and Black Piranha. Dow's off the track, followed by Drum Beats. Wall Street's out very wide when they corner. Further back, Rivera trying to recover. Then came Snow Alert. They're on the swing for home now in the Emirates. Sniper's Bullet went up and took the lead from Albert the Fat. Trusting is right there. Wider Lunyat Forever. Dow. They're followed by Captain Sonador, Black Piranha, Wall Street coming down the outside, and then came Chasm. Dow out wide, and Lunyat Forever with Trusting. They get the Sniper's Bullet. Here's Wall Street coming, and Chasm starting to join in now. Wall Street Dow, Lunyat Forever. Chasm coming at them. It's Wall Street Dow. Lunyat Forever, Trusting, and Chasm. There's about five across the track. Wall Street poking his nose in front. Wall Street. Give it to Wall Street in the photo finish from Dow. Lunyat Forever or Chasm. Trusting close up, and then Snow Alert who got home, followed by Drum Beats. Sniper's Bullet just behind these, and then Palacio de Crystal, followed further back by Captain Sonador. Then came Albert the Fat, Black Piranha, Sound Journey, LA Wonder, Gold Salute, and Rothera, who got knocked rotten in the race, has just walked across the line. And the Kiwi looks like he'll get it. Wall Street.
He'll get it. Dow will get second. Chasm will get third. That's the way they'll be. What a finish. So Hugh Bowman becomes the only jockey or trainer to get two Group 1s for the week. He won the Derby on Line Tamer. He didn't have time to...
Cherby number 10. Yet forever. That's Trusting stuck on there. The five across the line. Probably about, what is that, less than a link between them.
130 to come into his own now. There's another look at your interim dividends for England.
Trusting close up, and then Snow.
Well, I was heavily back favour in a big race. I always looked like I was going to win. He's won by a pimple in a 5-horse finish Wall Street, $6 favourite Dow. I think he's having a good rest this morning. He travelled wide and almost got there. Chasm terrific. Interference in the race. Winks charged with careless riding, but stewards did not proceed when they found contributing evidence. But the winner Wall Street lost 100,000. He's now a millionaire. And as I say, it was a skinny win in margin, but you always looked as though you were going to get there.
I felt confident when I really asked him for his top effort at about the 200-metre mark. I actually thought I was going to put 3/4 of a length on them. When I only got a neck in front, I must admit I started to panic a bit. But even on the line, I feel he was holding the others at bay. And I mean, it was an interesting race. The plan was to go forward on him.
They go. He is dead set ready.
Even Trusting, John, like he went forward and set on top of the speed. So don't give up on him. I'm telling you, don't you give up on Trusting.
Class, but he just topped it off, as you said, brilliantly. Look, this should have been 8-1 to try and find who was going to lead in this particular event. Like, I went back to try and find it the last time out, but the Fat actually led in the race, and I couldn't see one. Look, it was incredible. I just thought working forward like that for horses like Albert the Fat, Sniper's Bullet, it put themselves out of their own comfort zone, and they just struggled over the concluding stages. Trusting probably fitted into a similar scenario with the blinkers on after being aggressively ridden forward. But look, in saying that, you really can't take anything away from Wall Street because they put the blinkers on the first time. We all probably anticipated that he was going to go forward because there wasn't a great deal of speed in the race. But no, Huey, he didn't show any urgency whatsoever. He was the one that took advantage of the situation, and
He's a class actor winner. His record speaks for itself. He's a winner, and the old case with an old horse with a gear change, a couple of gear changes that can switch him on and he certainly switched on yesterday. He had the real New Zealand weight for age form. Second horse was an absolute certainty, but it should have won by 2 lengths. The Dow. I did ask a mate of mine who does a speed map, and he said he won't get closer than 5 off the fence. Well, he got that one right, and the barrier dead set beat him. He should have won easily.
You know what beat him? I'll tell you what beat him. There was
19 beat him.
no. Interference at about the 800 metre mark, 1,000 metre mark. There was severe interference, and he got speared off. He was in a good spot. He was 3 deep with cover, and then suddenly he got speared out 4 deep, and things changed in front of him.
The winner's found his back, which is just perfect.
Exactly.
And Chasm found his back.
The winner doesn't find his back. The winner probably. Wall Street doesn't win, and Dow wins anyway. He was in front, stride before the line, and a stride after. He was a very good thing. I support the way good horse. He's a very good horse. Trusting. I support the way they rode him because he's been beaten half a length in a Group 1 there, ridden that way. I reckon he'll win a lot more races ridden that way than he does, letting him drift back in the field and looking for runs. So
he got noted.
Of course, Keep the Peace, the New Zealand mare who has formed through Wall Street. She's obviously going to be very hard. She was at big odds when the first markets came out, but she's been well spruiked, and $5.10 for Xantalar. She's to the second leg of the quarter. Good luck if you're alive. I think most people will be with Wall Street, the sporting bet market mover, winning the first leg.
Off they go now. Lady Avacan jumping well. Piccolero bounced out of the stalls quickly. Keep the Peace was immediately snagged from the barriers, and she's gone right back to last. And Delta G is up there with Platinum Passion, well-rounded. Purple coming over. Mahita's on the move, 2 out wider, and Lynx was last of all. 1,200 metres left to go. And Purple the leader today, up by just over a length. Lady Lynette and Mahita tucked in on pieces. Last on the outside, sweeping past the 800 metres before the turn. And Purple the leader, last year's winner, a half length clear, Lady Lynette. 2 lengths away, Mahita, Delta G, Platinum Passion. Coming on wider, Golden Charmer, well-rounded just behind them as they corner. Then Lady Avacan, Piccolero. Music Review coming home around the outside. Xantalar's tracking her and will come wide when they corner, and Keep the Peace will be the deepest out in the straight now, and it's Purple narrowly from Lady Lynette. Well-rounded, getting up on the inside of these, and further back in the field then is Platinum Passion. Music Review. Here's Keep the Peace coming with Xantalar, but they're well out wide. Well-rounded, moved up and tackled Purple. Well-rounded goes to the lead. Xantalar, Music Review and Keep the Peace are coming. Well-rounded by about a length here. Xantalar, Purple and Keep the Peace boxing on behind them, but well-rounded. Too good there. Won it by 2 lengths to Purple. Either Keep the Peace or Music Review from Sandown for the minors, and then Moment in Time. They're followed just behind them, Platinum Passion, Lady Lynette, Piccolero, Golden. At the end, it's Ben Mellum again.
Yeah, Ben Mellum again. What a day he's having. Lee Friedman breaks his duck. This horse ran second on Tuesday behind Influential Miss. She's actually 4th in the Oaks last year, well-rounded, and she did the
0.55, a 15, 1, 3 and 8. A lot of quaddies go west, 38.30.
Tuesday, beaten Tuesday, run Saturday, win Saturday at big odds in the run. You want to be on it? $41. Thank you. Purple doesn't win. Keep the Peace.
We are 16 minutes away from the running of race 8. It's the Queen's Cup over 2,600 metres. And for many of these horses, it's virtually a Melbourne Cup consolation for many of the hopefuls who were trying to get into last Tuesday's field. Let's have a look at the 710 for accept.
Forward to it. Let's go down the opener. 480 to top fluctuation. Into 440. Well supported. Deserves a change of luck. 20 now. Hello. Keep coming. $4.
Williams from barrier 1. All right, Sammy, let's have a read on.
And Drunken Sailor missed the start by a couple of lengths. Mudra steps out okay. Sea Galliot away very nicely down on the inside. Yellowzardi's up going for the lead on the outside, and then Dream Peddler going forward exceptionally on the outside of these. She's got up into 4th from No Wine, No Song. Eastern Aria next outside of Miss Darcy with the rail as they turn out of the straight. And they're being followed by above average. Mudra's Faint Perfume and Kate Cutler inside the 1,000. Sea Gallion a length clear. Exceptionally running second. Yellowzardi third on the inside from Dream Peddler. No Wine, No Song. Eastern Aria's been deep the trip. Miss Darcy the rail, and then above average. My Bentley's been throwing wide but has had cover. Now Mudra Williams will be trying to find a way out from there. He's still midfield or a touch worse on the rail with nowhere to go at the moment, followed by Mr. Charlie easing off the fence, and then Persian Star as they swing around the turn. Well back in the field, still as Faint Perfume peeling to the outside. Drunken Sailor last into the straight. where Seagallion led narrowly, exceptionally still with a kick to offer. She goes to the lead at the top of the straight. Then Green Peddler down the outside. Now comes My Bentley running on well. Persian Star Mudra's got into the clear. He's come for the run now. Exceptionally gobbled up by Green Peddler. My Bentley hits the lead on the outside. Here's Persian Star Mudra coming in Eastern area. Green Peddler kicks back. Mudra's coming hard with Green Peddler. Green Peddler from Persian Star. Cape Cover, but Mudra, he deserved that one. Mudra beat Cape Cover a half a length. Either Green Peddler or Persian Star for third a photo. Just behind them, exceptionally above average. Eastern area, Faint Perfume out wider, and then Drunken Sailor. They're followed by Mr. Charlie, My Bentley. No wine, no song. Last home.
Well, Paddy Welsh, I hope you did follow him. Bigelow, he told us earlier. Mudra, he said, just about the biggest go. And there he is, getting home. And
Sailor last into the straight, where Seagallion led narrowly, exceptionally still with a kick to offer. She goes to the lead at the top of the straight. Then Green Peddler down the outside. Now comes My Bentley running on well. Persian Star Mudra's got into the clear. He's coming with a run now. Exceptionally gobbled up by Green Peddler. My Bentley hits the lead on the outside. Here's Persian Star Mudra coming in Eastern area. Green Peddler kicks back. Mudra's coming hard with Green Peddler. Green Peddler from Persian Star. Cape Cover, but Mudra, he deserved that one. Mudra beat Cape Cover a half a length. Either Green Peddler or Persian Star for third a photo. Just behind them, exceptionally above average.
Problem about this horse ever training off. He looked pretty good to me, and he looks to be a pretty tough type. 380, 180 for Mudra, the Sporting Bet market mover. Cape Cover 490, Persian Star for Turfy 11.
Persian Star third.
Finally, Mudra couldn't win the Corporate Cup, not in it. Couldn't win the Melbourne Cup, not in it. Won the Queen's Cup. Finally, if you're framing the market for next year's Melbourne Cup, Malaki Day would be first favourite. Mudra would be second favourite. Well done to them. Well done to Kieran Marr, but keep him up, so.
Well, you know, we've been tracking this horse since Warrnambool. I still believe he's the best horse I've seen emerge from that wonderful training area.
Yeah.
I think he would have finished top 4 or 5 in the Melbourne Cup. That's a problematic one. That's a hypothetical. But the point is, he was magnificent this year, Kieran Marr. We've always known what a great trainer he is, but he just kept going. He had faith in his horse. We had faith in him. So did the punters. That's why they backed him for a stick yesterday. And finally, he can go for a spell now. What I'd be doing with him, I don't tell Kieran how to train, but I'd be having a 3-run preparation in the autumn. No, so you think he could win the Australian Cup?
Well, he's brilliant fresh too. I mean, he burst up.
He did deserve that victory. And he's been tough all the way through because he's had so many hard runs. I still reckon they made a mistake with him, not bringing him for the Metrop and then qualifying him for the Melbourne Cup. But look, he'll keep for next year. He's a very he's a very promising for next year's Cup he is. But I reckon he could have easily qualified now Metrop this year, and he would have run a race in the Cup. Anyway, that's just an opinion. Look, I think the second horse was unlucky, Cape Cover. He's ticking away beautifully. I don't know whether Patrick will run him in that 2-mile race next week, or he might get too much weight in a race like that.
Well, where else are you going to run him?
Well, the other 2400 on the same day.
No, he run him in the 32.
Okay, I'd like to think so, and I'd like to think that he wouldn't get too much weight.
Yep, and that race, the Queen's Cup, it's always been the Queen Elizabeth Stakes, and it will be again because they move that Queen's Cup around from state to state, and usually the Queen Elizabeth run at 2,500 metres. They run at 2,600 metres. I think it's a better race. I think you should change the Queen Elizabeth to a 2,600 metre race. It just gives the horses a bit more of a start before they hit that first corner and gives more horses a chance to slot in. This thing's a better race at 2,600 metres.
Turning our attention now to Churchill Downs.
Let's cheer this man.
Potentially about to see a piece of world racing history. The great mare Zenyatta going for her 20th straight victory in the Breeders' Cup. Let's cross trackside now to Churchill Downs.
Going to see history. Zenyatta, 20 for 20. Looking at Lucky Zen. They're all set for the... 50%. And Zenyatta is dead last. Zenyatta was slow into stride. She's got to be 5-6 lengths last at Zenyatta. They cut past the stands first time round now, and first dude is going to lead Espoir City. Holiday Road is right there on the inside. South Fair on the outside. It's edged. Here's looking at Lucky Racing in the 6.7 off the lead as the pace. Very solid early. Lane is taken back towards the rear. On the outside of that, we have Desert Prince. In behind those two now, we drop back to Patio Prado's down at the rail. In tight was Fly Down. Musket Man is there. And Zenyatta is dead. Mike Smith's asking her to pick it up a little, actually. Mike Smith doesn't want to be too far back. He's asking Zenyatta to pick it up. At this stage, Zenyatta's got to be a good 18, 20 lengths off the leader. They go down the back stretch now in the Breeders' Cup Classic, and First Dude is the leader. Quality Road is ridden along with the rail. Rainsfield right there third. Esquire City is fourth, and those four fly. It's a big gap of 7 back to Etch. Looking at Lucky is 10 lengths off the leader. Blaine down at the rail. In behind Blaine now we have Musket Man, who's still far back with Manny Prado. In behind that we have Fly Down, and Zenyatta is dead. Zenyatta is up. Mike Smith trying to find somewhere to run. They bunching up at the top of the lane now, though. Rainsfield, Esquire City's running a huge one as well. Looking at Lucky. Here comes looking at Lucky. Etched is in there. Zenyatta now hooking to the grandstand side. And Zenyatta is now coming with a run. Looking at Lucky. Blaine on the inside. Blaine gets the lead. Zenyatta on the outside looking at Lucky. Blaine, Zenyatta is flying. Blaine trying to hold on. Blaine has won it ahead. Zenyatta ran her heart out but had to settle for second. Fly Down to third and looking at Lucky finish fourth. Well, there we have it ahead to separate a historic race from Zenyatta. Tremendous run, far, far back early. Had to wind her way through. Blaine got the perfect trip, though, and Garrett Gomez scores ahead on Blaine. Zenyatta second.
Well, what about that? I've got the shakes. What an extraordinary race tactically. She was tacked on to the back of the field at distant last.
Jeez, it stood at that horse. He's a very good horse, isn't he, Michael?
The winner's a very, very good horse. He's won numerous Group 1s this year in America.
That is unbelievable.
Well, she's done all but beat him.
What about going out of the straight the first time? She's just a bob of the head there, and she's taking little fairy-like footsteps 10 lengths last, like she's warming up. Takes her a while to warm into her work. Well, obviously that's her pattern, but it was an incredible achievement. But she deserved a better finish than that.
What if the caller hedging?
Stand by, they're racing. Happy Sequel near the inside, bounced out nicely with Gloria's Peak, and Silken Samurai and Wasting Time, both clear conspicuous at the back. Northern Shifters trying to head off Happy Sequel. I'm not sure that it can. Gloria's Peak third. Moshe's right there on the outside fourth, and 2 lengths away then to Mud Spa, followed by Samurai. Before the turn, it's Happy Sequel narrowly from Northern Shift. To the outside went the Boom Colt Moshe, then Gloria's Peak further back to Carmen. Mud Spa down the outside was Little Mama, but Moshe clear. He came up on the outside and he went bang. Here we're looking at another Nursery of Champion. All right, he put 5 lengths on them in a twinkling of an eye. Happy Sequel, Northern Shift, Gloria's Peak battle on. Then Little Mama, Bianca Rossa from the back is coming home, but done. He's got his mouth wide open on this winner Moshe as he wins by 6 lengths. Second, Bianca Rossa in a great debut, and third, there's a wall of them there. Little Mama made very, very special.
Rick, I think you're right. I think it's a very strong family. Firstly, Black Caviar and now Moshe. Really, you're never in doubt. When these first two are off the bit, I was looking at the riders of the 2 leaders, and they had to look over their right shoulder, and they were scrubbing their horses along, and there's Dwayne Dunn just sitting as calm as ever on the outside of them, and I thought, oh no, we've got no hope here. And he didn't even ask for a great deal, and this Colt by Bella Spree was off. Look at that, one horse in the photo. Well, Wayne made Black Caviar came here, she'd win by 15 lengths. Well, how far is this horse won by? Maybe not 15, but it's getting up to double figures. Here we see Dwayne just clicks a strong Colt by Bella Spree, full brother to champion and unbeaten mare Black Caviar, Group 1 winner now as of the carnival. Has gone home.
Well, let's have a look at the market here. Lee Freeman's got First Command. Mick Price has got Double Any. They're the 2 market leaders on the tote. It's $5.60 First Command per turbo, $5.70, but Double Any the tote favourite at $3.70. That's to David Gately to get a different perspective on what's happening in the ring.
because weren't they back to Macedonia and back to above average? They Quinelled it. We'll see how this plays out. He'll be up sitting second, you think, first command on most maps.
Lucky for
Avenue jumps well on the inside, away quickly to first command. They settle early together. And third placing then is the handsome one pushing through from Vocalic and Royal Ida over on the fence. Two per Turbo. Double Annie went back second last. Turbo one to Double Annie and 4 lengths an Avalanche. Avenue's got away on him coming down towards the home turn. At the 600 metres, she's open 3 on first command. The handsome one hard ridden third. Vocalic back on the inside. Perturbo pulls out. They're followed by Royal Ida. Double Annie peels to the outside. Avenue ran down the dip at the 400, still by 3. First command battling away. Vocalic getting up on the inside. A break in the field then to Double Annie coming down the outside, but Avenue still with a long lead down to the 250 by 3. First command boxing on. Double Annie starting to come with her run. It's Avenue by about 3. She's getting a little tired. Double Annie's coming after her. Avenue by a length. Double Annie trying hard. Avenue continuing to kick, and Avenue got home by 3/4 to Double Annie. 4 lengths away. Royal Ida, I reckon, might grab that third ahead of first command. Break for Turbo and Avalanche. Then the handsome one and Vocalic back at the end. It's a Luke Nolan and Peter Moody show at the moment.
Sure is, Greg. That's she just broke their hearts there. She broke first command, had been heavily backed. He couldn't chase. Double Annie was left to be the best of the closers, but got back at the day. It's been a great day so far. This is a feature race. This is the Betfair Sandown Guineas. Here's the market, and the tote favourite is Bigelow, $3.70. Gee, one here. Presto has gone for an absolute bath. Well, bath on a wet day. I haven't wanted here on course. It's $4.70 the tote. Bigelow $3.70. Goldstone $4.40. And Territory and Yorkshire Lad under double figures. Let's go to Dave's day along Tuesday. Wasn't out to do much, was he?
No, I can't say.
You look at the form. I said, this has had 2 goes on heavy for 1 win, but where was it and what sort of heavy was it? Because we've seen horses who flopped at Caulfield because of the track come out and run well since on a different sort of heavy at Flemington.
Spot on. You've got to have your wits about you these days.
First,
Racing in the Sandown Guineas, Presto jumping okay near the inside, no speed from We See Attitude. Yorkshire Lad was the first out. He's being joined in the early part by Territory. Dance of the Oceans pushing up there too. Preste settling down on the rail in 4th. 1 to Chassé. Then Condolago's in the Guineas. Down the side of the course they race. Territory by a length. Condolago had moved to 2nd. 2 to Yorkshire Lad 3rd. 2 to Preste 4th. 1.5 Dance of the Ocean. Bigelow the rail. Chassé next the outside. And then came Goldstone and We See Attitude. 12 off the leader. Territory narrowly. Condolago going up to put pressure on him before the turn. 600 to go. 1.5 to Yorkshire Lad stalking the leaders and Preste coming into it. They're followed by Dance of the Ocean, Bigelow. Next Chassé the outside. Goldstone cut the corner and We See Attitude in the straight. Territory the leader. Down the outside is Condolago. Yorkshire Lad under the whip coming home along the inside. Further back Preste called on for his run. Bigelow starting to thread through and then Chassé. Territory had a second wind at the 300 metres though, and he kicked out by 3 lengths. Preste ran to 2nd, Bigelow, and then Chassé on the outside. Territory the leader getting a little tired. Preste starting his big finish. Preste finishing over the top of them. Chassé runs on, but it's Preste to score. A half a length to Chassé, a length to Bigelow 3rd, and Territory weak and late. He's run 4th. Condolago 5th, followed We See Attitude. Yorkshire Lad. Then came Goldstone and a distant last Dance of the Ocean.
Well, finally something goes right for Chris Waller in Melbourne this spring. It's been such a frustrating time for him, and perhaps one of his best horses, almost promising, lifts and wins here for Nash. It was a gun ride, barrier 1. He just, from about the 800, he could 360, 420, SP's at 460, best horse won.
Yeah, he's a nice horse, this horse, and he really liked it.
Proven Group 1 performer, but I suppose you're at the end of the road here in Melbourne now.
Yeah, we are. I'd say concentrate on Sydney in the autumn. Races like the Doncaster Handicap and Randwick Giddings leading into that. That'd be.
He's run 4th.
Well, that was a big win. Big train performance by Chris Waller. Press Day. It had been a dirty spring in Melbourne for Chris, but he gets the Sandown Guineas with a good horse here, Rich, in Press Day. $5 in the 460 and worked hard to get it.
Oh, look, there's no doubt he's a cheap buy, this horse by Doomsday. And look, he won the Group 1 up in Queensland, and everyone always thinks, oh, is that strong enough for him? Chris has always had a big rap on him. And look, they'd put all their eggs into one basket, and he was just going to have one run, and that was going to be the Coolmore.
Yeah.
We all know what happened. Went up the barriers, missed the start 5. And I think it's a wonderful effort. to go from the 1200 for a race that wasn't on the program to go to the mile second up on a very heavy track, which I don't think he's ultra comfortable in, and to get the Bickies. Geez, I thought it was a good effort.
It was. Look, he's not beating up the top level, though, is he? By the same token, I don't know that Brisbane form has held up all that well. I think we have to see in the autumn whether he really measures up to the top grade. That was a group.
He's a nice horse. I think he's going places. But, with the winner, I think he's better than them. And I'm not convinced that he's a real heavy tracker. He just looked okay. Chassé, it sort of chased very, very hard as well. But good horse.
No, look, a marvellous training performance that. You don't see that happen often, an afterthought winning a decent race, because this horse's plan was just a Coolmore one-run prep. All of a sudden, he's in a mile on a heavy track there. That's a marvellous training achievement by Chris Waller there. And look, he got to...
But it was a very good training effort, and he is a very good horse. He's just too good for them.
Feature race today is the Patnack Farm Sandown Classic, and Zipping going for 4 in a row. He's the hottest of favourites on the tote. He's $1.80, $1.70, $1.80. Of course, you can see there the late scratchings today. That scratching have been able to bet black figures about Zipping here today, Dave.
Indeed, field of 5 after the scratchings, and bookies did open Zipping at $1.70. He drifted to $1.90, then to $2. That was the punters on course Q. They jumped on. And yeah, obviously bookies prepared to risk him on that.
Dave, he's in virtually career best form, going for 4.
Well, that's it. There's not much to add. 45 career starts, 0 poor runs. Rocketed home in a Melbourne Cup off a 1.3 length second to So You Think. Of course, going for 4 straight in this race. He's the one they have to beat.
But they've got to go out and make something up for themselves now, don't they?
Yeah, it's going to be a really, did a really good job. I was really impressed with how passionate they were all
for a journey. Menegar from the outside takes hold and goes back early. Zipping jumps away, and he has a piece of the lead with La Rocket in the early stages. Gingadoo just sat off them a length and a half away in third. Then came the mare exceptionally fourth. And there's about 4 lengths to Menegar, who's just struggling to stay in touch as covering them. And Nicol really dictating the terms of the race now. He's out in front on the favourite Zipping. Now Nicolic's off on exceptionally, and in a very quick move he's gone up and he joins at the 1200 metres. In fact, exceptionally puts her head in front of Zipping, and Hall allows her to go, and he'll take the trail for a little while. La Rocket third on the outside. Gingadoo now pushed back to fourth, and Menegar last. So with that mid-race move, it's exceptionally for Dan Nicolic, 1,000 metres to go. Just over a length in front of Zipping. 2 lengths away is La Rocket. Gingadoo back on the inside and Nick away in fourth. Just off the bridle a little bit at the moment, and Menegar last. Less than 800 left to go. And exceptionally out by nearly a length. Zipping, stalking her now, creeping a little bit closer as they come to the turn. 2 La Rocket, Gingadoo, and 1.5 to Menegar, being pushed along at this point. Now they're on the swing for home. History awaits Zipping. It's exceptionally first into the straight by a little over a length. Zipping now, given full ball by Hall. Will he handle this ground? He's trying very hard. Gingadoo switches to the inside. Then Menegar. La Rocket dropped off. They're inside the final 400 metres now. Zipping warming to the task. He's moved up to exceptionally. Gingadoo comes with a run. Menegar's warming up late. Zipping narrowly. He's in for the fight. 150 to go. Gingadoo coming at him. But Zipping pins his ears back. And away he goes. 4 straight classics. What a beauty. It's Zipping to win it by 2 lengths. Menegar dived it exceptionally and Gingadoo in photos for the minor issue. And La Rocket was a distant last.
Well, that's great. It's great to come along and see history and be part of it with a terrific horse to make it 4 in a row. Well done to all the team, Williams. The plans come off beautifully here for Nicol, the horse who loves a fight, digs in for it again and wins a 4th Sandown Cup. Joins the likes of Manikato, Lord, Vane as multiple Group 1 winners of the same race 4 years in a row. That's great, Sam.
What a chance. Exciting, to have any involvement in a horse like this. It's something you could only dream of, I guess. And Dad's been involved in the industry 45 or 50 years, and I think it's fantastic for him to have a horse that's as tough as this and has achieved such great things. He's he's probably not the most talented horse he's ever owned, but he's certainly the toughest. And I just really
cheering him on.
Oh no, it's fantastic, very exciting, and it's just great for all our team, and it's It's just a terrific day.
Suppose you always try and put your finger on what is the key to success and longevity. If we knew, they'd all be good horses, wouldn't
He's just a freak of nature. He's just so tough. You know, there's not
when Dan got moving there and you popped off his heels and he just wanted to look for a battle, didn't he?
Yeah, you know what small fields are like. They can be very tactical and much more tricky than when there's big fields. So, you know, I was never worried. He just needed to always have that clear running. And when Dan came around, I just made sure I had that option.
He's won Group 1 races and you've been with him, but this is pretty special, isn't it?
He's pretty good. Did you hear the cheer they gave? It's outstanding. You know, everyone's got a soft spot. Like I say, you get a good affiliation when they get on with their career and get to this stage. People have seen them since their babies having their first start right up till now. So everyone sort of feels that connection with him.
In the rain to look at him today, Nick, and I'm sure you're glad for that too.
Yeah, fantastic. And thanks to everyone for coming out to see the old boy.
Thanks, Nick.
Cheers.
Nick Gould. When he was 8 and 9, and 5 Group 2s, of course, 4 of those being the Sandown Classic, which perhaps could be renamed for future. The Zipping Classic, why not?
Well, I tell you what, he's great at the end of a carnival, isn't he? If you've had a bad Melbourne Cup carnival at Flemington, you just say, well, get to Sandown, here's the anchor, Zipping.
I wonder if he's ever been through it, wasn't it? He's a quality beauty, all right, isn't he? Zipping, joining Tie the Knot, and also Manikato as the horses to win 4 majors in succession. He's bet $2. Unitab gave you $2.40 if you're on the best of the totes. Thanks very much. Exceptionally brave, Manigar brave, but none braver than the winning Zipping, and great to have Nick Williams with us this morning after a very satisfying day for all that.
You look back through this horse's 45 runs, and unbelievably for a 9-year-old, he'd never faced effective ground like that. So we were really wondering, and really, I suppose, throwing our hat in the ring. The Melbourne Cup was obviously run on pretty poor ground, and he ran well.
Amazing, isn't it, to think at 9, he's never went on slow ground, he never raced on heavy ground, and he just ticks that off the list of things to do for him.
He's won by, you know, I thought that, I must say, you talk about his to-do lists, and I honestly thought in March when he actually got his Group 1, I thought, well, there's not much more this horse can do for us. He was regarded as probably the most unlucky horse in the country at that point, and he got his Group 1, and I think he likes this winning big races.
Congratulations again, Nick.
Placed earlier, Nick. Has he ever been
Absolutely nothing away from the other jockeys who have ridden that horse, but you know, if you look at the ratings alone, all the horses' top rating runs have been with Ian Hall riding him. So
another unbelievable highlight over the carnival yesterday. I thought we'd seen it all, and for him to win 4 8
was a bit of a nerve-wracking week. I think you don't realise how much these horses mean to you until they start embarking on things like this, and the media start asking questions.
Any concerns leading into the event, given the rain that we had?
All the huge concerns, yeah. You know, I think on Monday when I first saw the forecast for the weekend, and now they're basically forecasting Armageddon, which they weren't far wrong with. But you know, he's a horse, as Richard said before. He's now had 46 starts. He'd never run on a truly effective track before, which is incredible, isn't it? And for a 9-year-old.
Nick, one thing about the race yesterday,
and I couldn't agree with you more. Just let him tell you. But why has he had such? I think he's been in his best form of his entire career as a 9-year-old. What have you changed anything? Did you do anything differently that has brought him to a peak of his career 7 years after starting racing, or 6 or 7 years anyway?
I think there's 2 significant things that have happened. One, I'd say a little bit lightheartedly, and that is that Dad bought a house next to Macedon Lodge and spent a bit more time there, and provided a bit more supervision over the staff in the role he likes to call himself as senior trainer. I think he calls himself these days.
Consultant to himself.
Yeah, he's a consultant to himself. But no, seriously, he has really set some systems in place up there that ensure that these horses get absolutely every chance. But I think the other thing that's happened is that if you look at the ratings, since Nick Hall's been riding that horse, he's improved, and I think it's really a case of you're seeing a jockey and a horse that suit each other. And, you know, there's plenty of examples